Chicken tenders, crispy, juicy, tendery, tendies. That's what to say. Tendies, tendies, tendies. And they're so good, maybe we should change up. For tendies, you're gonna know by name, gotta be Wendy's. Every Sunday, we strive to bring joy and laughter. I want new drugs. Joy, laughter, joy, laughter. Because we care. Coming in hot for an emotional hug. We're not doing emotion. We're not doing sexual. Is that right? Animation Domination. Sundays on Fox.
Do you believe in miracles? Because if so, Penn State is at number 1 Ohio State coming up next for a big noon kickoff on Fox. So thanks for tuning in and listening to my audio-only college football Penn State at Ohio State live play, watch along reactions live right here on YouTube as we participate in the Ohio State blackout today. As always, I'm your host, Encyclopedia Sports, Quinn Luke 96. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe on social media. Links in the description below. That'll be Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Hit that red subscribe button, notification bell next to it as well to stay up to date. Once again, links in the description below. So thumbs up button, share, hashtag college football, hashtag Penn State, hashtag Ohio State on top of all that. And then chat questions and comments, super chat, super stickers, super likes, super thanks. Always greatly appreciated, as well as this video is powered by Rogue Energy, HopeKThrifts, and Dead and Hungry. First off, with Rogue Energy, be sure to get your favorite energy and hydration flavors in can or tub form, shakers, and Rogue Energy merch at the link in the description below. Be sure to use the code Luke123, that's Luke123 for 10% off. HopeKThrifts, second-hand resale shop that focuses on staying in the environment in a cheap and fashionable way, as most items are $20 or less and include brands like American Eagle, Converse, Free People, and Shein, among others. HopeKThrifts found on Depop, Instagram, Macari, and Poshmark. Yes, you guessed it, HopeKThrifts. It's HopeKThrifts. HopeKThrifts, so be sure to use the message seller code CHEAPTHRIFTS, CHAAPTHRIFTS, CHEAPTHRIFTS for 10% off. Link also in the description below. And then Dead and Hungry, a novel written by Nathan D. Mitchell, found on Amazon. And once you go check that out over on Amazon, if that doesn't interest you, you might as well be what the title says. Also, if available on your YouTube screen, hit the hype button, along with, I would say, scan the QR code behind me for a video, but you can also click the first top link in the description below. So, yeah, Penn State's at Ohio State today. We know how this game normally goes. It'll be the final meeting between the two schools for a few years, with the way the college football world is now and the Big Ten scheduling with conference opponents. So they won't meet again until 2028. But that's neither here nor there right now. So believe deep down in your heart you are destined to do great things, because if you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowance for their doubting too, if you can wait and not be tired by waiting, or being lied about, don't deal in lies, or being hated, don't give way to hating, and yet don't look too good nor talk too wise. If you can dream and not make dreams your master, if you can think and not make thoughts your aim, if you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two imposters just the same, if you can bear to hear the truth you've spoken, twisted by knives to make a trap for fools, or watch the things you gave your life to broken and stoop and build them up with worn out tools. If you can make one heap of all your winnings and risk it on one turn of pitch and toss, and lose and start again at the beginnings, and never breathe a word about your loss. If you can force your heart and nerve and sinew to serve your turn long after they are gone, and so hold on when there is nothing in you except the will which says to them, hold on. If you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings nor lose the common touch, if neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all men count with you but none too much, if you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run, yours is the earth and everything that's in it, and which is more, you'll be a man, my son. We are Penn State. If Penn State, with interim head coach Terry Smith wearing and promoting that poem since he has taken over, So Penn State and Ohio State coming off bye weeks last week. Penn State was at Iowa 2 Saturday nights ago, losing by 1 point, 25-24. Penn State now sitting at 3-4 on the season, not having won since September the 13th, coming off of 4 straight losses at number 1 Ohio State today. So Penn State hasn't won at Ohio State since 2011, but for what it's worth, okay, they had an interim head coach for that game, just like they do today. So just saying, from Tom Bradley, Terry Smith. But Penn State versus number 1 team in the country all time is 4-13. They haven't defeated the number 1 team regular season, postseason, since they won in South Bend at Notre Dame in 1990. And then as we turn the calendar to November, with today being November the 1st, hopefully everyone had a spooky, happy Halloween yesterday. But Penn State all time on November the 1st, 11-4. But they haven't won on this date since 1997, as both losses since have been by 1 point in both 2003 and 2014. So here we are again, another 11 years later. Just once again, thanks for tuning in and listening. Penn State at 3-4 once again. At the undefeated number 1 Ohio State Buckeyes. And the Lions haven't lost 5 games in a row since 2020, when they started the season 0-5. Before then, they won 4 in a row, 9 in a row into the 21 season at 5-0. Before then, they shit the bed and finished 7-6. Obviously, the Rose Bowl in 22, New Year's 6-23, and then the College Football Final Four in the playoff last year. But they haven't won in damn near 2 months here this year, having lost 4 in a row, with a bye week at the start of that and a bye week at the end of that, and enter November at Ohio State here today. See, Penn State hasn't lost 5 games in a row since 2020. Penn State hasn't lost 6 games in a row since both 2003 and 2004. Penn State hasn't lost 7 in a row since 1931, and Penn State has never lost 8 games in a row. Never in the entire program's history. As long as Penn State's been playing college football, the blue and white, in a single season, they've never lost 8 games in a row. So, obviously, yeah, we'll see what happens. That's why they play the game each side on paper, side of the field. But we'll see what happens over the next 5 weeks. Starting today with Ohio State. Next week, Indiana comes to Happy Valley. Before then, Penn State goes to Michigan State for the Battle of the Land-Grant Trophy. And then the Nebraska Cornhuskers will shuck in for Senior Day. Before then, Penn State ends the regular season at Rutgers. And by that point in time, they might be, and probably will be, to be honest with you, like I've said in the past, in a position that they're going to have to win out to make a bowl game this year. But with all that being said, so you're telling me there's a chance? Yes, but very, very slim. As the Ohio State marching band is about to dot the I, they're going over game picks. We'll be keeping tabs here at the 12 noon window this first day of November 2025. Once again, thanks for tuning in and listening. But Penn State, Ohio State Buckeyes are a 2.5 touchdown point favorite, officially at 18.5. Over-under's 44.5. So, yeah, you can probably take the minus for the defending national champions, the Ohio State University Buckeyes, but we are Penn State. As we're on Fox for a big noon kick, as both teams are coming off bye weeks, as mentioned. But to be honest with you, expecting an ass kicking today. But for Penn State, it's what do you have to lose? I mean, seriously, go out and shock the world today, as nobody is giving Penn State a chance. But fight on state, and Penn State leads the all-time series, Ohio State leads the all-time series against Penn State, 26-14. Penn State hasn't defeated Ohio State since 2016. They haven't defeated Ohio State on the road inside of the shoe since 2011. 18 one-score games all time, dating back over 100 years with these two, as this is a rivalry game between two of college football's bluest of blue bloods, as both rank amongst the top 10 programs in winning percentage and total victories in all of NCAA history. So with the scarlet and gray and the blue and white, OHIO, we are Penn State. But really for Penn State, like I said, once again, what do you have to lose? Go out and shock the world? I mean, hang around, run the ball, control the clock best you can. Turnovers and points off of turnovers. Special teams has been blocking kicks like crazy lately. And then, take your points while you can get them. So, team's about to take the field now as well. But, yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. It's probably not going to be pretty. It's probably going to be as ugly as it's been with these two in quite a while. If I'd have to guess, just, knowing how talented Ohio State is and, the position Penn State's in, and, they're barely getting by at times. But once again, like I said, what does Penn State have to lose? Not a goddamn thing other than the game, So go out and shock the world. The fat man, Katron Allen, they're going to have to run 13 a lot today, especially with Ethan Grunkmeyer at quarterback, who grew up right down the street from the Horseshoe, as he's in relief of another OHIO quarterback in Drew Aller for Penn State, who's injured now for the rest of the season, having already had surgery on his lower left leg. He's in attendance today, unlike 2 weeks ago, so he's still around the team, but he's in a walking boot and he's on a scooter, so obviously he ain't going to be running and throwing. So, yeah, they're going to have to run the ball as they did 2 weeks ago at Iowa with the fat man, Katron Allen, who's had at least one touchdown in every single game so far this season. I say that because he's had a couple games of 2+ touchdowns. And we know down the stretch here over this next month, Katron needs officially 443 yards. It's an average of almost 90 a game, 88.6 if you want to be exact, to break the all-time Penn State rushing record. And that'll get him to 3,933 yards. So he very well could surpass 4,000. And Evan Royster, and become the new all-time Penn State rushing leader at season's end. And there's a damn good chance he does, but we'll see. One thing at a time. But yeah, Drew Aller's out, as we know. So Ethan Grunkemeyer in at quarterback. Obviously, they ran a 2-quarterback system 2 weeks ago at Iowa with the Iowa native and number 14 Jackson Smolik, but he didn't really do a hell of a lot. Supposedly he got hurt. Supposedly he's dressed today. So who knows, what the hell they're going to have up their sleeve with the gimmicky, Kotelnicki Blizzard offense. But Beckham Kritzer, the true freshman, number 16, originally from Colorado, was going to go to Skip Buffs. Obviously played his high school football, though, in Florida. And, top recruit recently, and just hasn't even up until recently, when Terry Smith took over, a participant in anything related to football for whatever reason, from what I've heard. So maybe we see him a little bit today. Obviously, we saw, a few players a couple weeks ago in Iowa City that, we hadn't seen prior to that this season. So from then until now, with those players, we'll get into the names later, but obviously next man up, play the best and, hope for the best. But is Penn State getting the football here? Looks like the offense is getting ready to go on the field. So we'll stick with the conversation of, offensively what they're going to have to do here today, no doubt. And that's the run game to help out whoever's playing quarterback on respective play. They say it's about 50 degrees, been windy the past day or two. So I expect the same here again today. It's just that time of year. But what other players, are we going to be seeing today? Just, hey, do what you got to do. Find a way to make a play and find a way to, win, even though it's probably going to be a monster mash, a graveyard smash as Ohio State kicks off. And we'll have a touchback on the opening kick, so it'll be 1st and 10 for the blue and white to start things off. 25-yard line. Yeah, Ethan Grunkemeyer, 17, second start as the quarterback for Penn State. At Iowa, bye week, and then now at Ohio State. So couldn't really get any tougher than that, unless they were going to Michigan or, out west at this rate. But as always, we'll recap, we'll preview stats and scores, and we'll enjoy this game between Penn State and Ohio State because it's the last time they're going to meet until 2028. But like I said, Penn State, what do you have to lose? Go out and shock the world. We are. So they'll toss to the fat man far side. Katron Allen on the opening play gets 25 yards before getting pushed out of bounds. First down, Penn State. Just a simple toss from the 25-yard line. Got the block, hit the hole, and off to the races he went. And, okay, couldn't have asked for a better start on the first play of the game. So Dawkins up at center. Grunkemeyer in the gun. And they'll run a bubble screen complete. Devontae Ross, transfer from Troy, gets 6 yards. So a minute in, Penn State with 2 plays and in Ohio State territory. Take the points so I can get them. You don't know you're going to need late. And especially if this gets out of hand, at least you're not getting shut out. At least you'll have something to show for it. So 2nd and 4. And they'll run Fat Man again, but they're going to stuff him He actually loses 2 yards. So it'll be 3rd down and 6. As we kick off here a little after 12 noon Eastern time today. See if Penn State can convert. They'll run the fat man again. And now they got a 4th and about 4 coming up. Maybe 4th and 3. So yeah, does Penn State go for this? Give Ohio State somewhat of a short field? Or are they going to punt and play field position? I'd punt and play field position because it sort of cost them a couple weeks ago on a couple different situations. They should have done the opposite of whatever they did. So Gabe Owusu does kick, and the punt will be fair caught at the 11. So it'll be 1st and 10 for Ohio State from there. And we'll see how this defense now fares. Getting after the Alabama transfer quarterback, Julian Saint, who looks like he's in middle school. So 1st and 10, Ohio State. Come on, defense. What do you got? So Penn State offensively get the big opening run on the first play of the game, but couldn't capitalize off field position. They had to punt. 1st and 10, Buckeyes at the 11. They'll fake the run. Julian Saints pass over the middle, caught. Cardinal Tate, he gets to the 30, and they'll move the sticks. 1st and 10, Buckeyes. So they're going to go hurry up from the 31, 1st and 10. And they'll run it. And a tackle for loss, Keon Wiley, 32 for the Penn State defense. Wraps up Bo Jackson. Not that Bo Jackson, but this Ohio State Bo Jackson. So 2nd down and long. So it'll be 2nd and 14 at the 27. And they'll run it up the middle and, get that loss back plus them. So they got a 3rd and manageable now coming up. We'll see if they can convert. They probably will. I mean, Penn State, just got to make a play, man. Just got to make a play. As Penn State will man up, and it's caught. Jeremiah Smith near side. So 1st and 10, Buckeyes once again. Yep. So, yeah, that's a catch. And 1st down. So they'll move the sticks again. And now they're into Penn State territory out past 50 at 46. 1st and 10. Penn State bringing pressure up the middle. Dom DeLuca. But they dump it off in the flat of the tight end. And then Shorter makes a stop. So under 10 now to play in this first quarter. 2nd and 7. So 2nd and 7 from the 43. And they run a slant to Jeremiah Smith. It was a one-on-one coverage far side, but he got separation as it was either that on a slant or it was going to be a quarterback draw because they had everybody else in the empty stacked at the bottom of your screen, and they didn't do a damn thing on that play. They just stood there and watched it as the Penn State defense is wondering what the hell's going on. So from the 33 now, 1st and 10, they'll run it and they'll cut and almost get a first down, but short, so second and about a yard. So it's very fast-paced, moving first quarter here. Yeah, Ohio State's got a 2nd and 2 now coming up. So now out of the eye. They'll run it once again. Lower the shoulder, get the first down. A.J. Harris on the tackle for Penn State. So another 1st and 10 for the Buckeyes. As remember, they started this drive at the 11-yard line after the Penn State punt on Penn State's opening drive because they couldn't capitalize off of the field position off the big run to begin the game. So now the defense can't get off the field. 1st and 10 for OH from the 21. And they'll fake the toss and come back on a cross for the tight end and good 5-6 yards there. So, yeah, they're just making it look easy. First down to, they got backed up on a play or two there, but they've had 2nd and 3rd and manageable this whole entire drive. And, they're just moving the ball, and I'd be shocked if they don't get points on this drive. Because they are in field goal range, and it's probably going to be more than 3, though. So, from the 15, 2nd and 4. And they'll run it. About a yard if he's lucky. So, 3rd down. So 3rd and 3 from the 15. And on a slant, it's caught. Smith, he walks in, touchdown, Ohio State. So from Snoopy to the battle cry to OHIO. Dun, 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 yeah, fuck off. But touchdown Buckeyes, they strike first. Here's the extra point. And it's up and good. Ohio State leads Penn State 7-0. And Fox had Hell's Kitchen on the air. They're going to go to break with a fucking theme song. So we'll get back to the action here shortly. We'll update some stats in the meantime. So Penn State, one big run play. Drive stalled out, had to punt. And then Ohio State goes almost 90 yards, officially 89. And it was an 11-play touchdown drive. Took up 6 minutes and 10 seconds. With 6:15 now to play in this first quarter. Penn State's going to get the ball back. However, down 7-0. Gronkmeyer 1-on-1 on that opening drive for 6 yards. Katron Allen, 3 of 27, but he had a 26-yard run on the first play of the game. And the 6-yard completion was complete to Devontae Ross. Julian Sane also perfect, but he's 6 of 6 for 71 yards. And the touchdown to Jeremiah Smith, who has 3 of those catches for 42 yards. And the score, Bo Jackson, 3 of 13 on the ground. C.J. Donaldson, who Penn State played last year when he was at West Virginia, he has 2 carries, 5 yards. Cardinal Tate also has a catch for 20. Max Clare, 1 of 6. Bennett Christian, 1 of 3. Obviously, the extra point, good. So, yeah, Ohio State leads Penn State 7-0. And we'll get back to the action here shortly. So, once again, thanks for tuning in and listening. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe on social media. Links in the description below. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Hit that red subscribe button, notification button next to it as well to stay up to date. Once again, links in the description below. Thumbs up button. Share. Chat questions and comments. Super chat, super sticker, super like, super thanks. Always greatly appreciated as well. Video powered by Rogue Energy, HopeKThrifts, and Dead and Hungry. So go check them out as well. Hit the hype button if available. And click the first top link in the description below. It's as good as the QR code during a normal video. So, Penn State, Ohio State here at noon. We're also watching Vandy at Texas. They just kicked off a little bit ago as well. The score here momentarily. They are coming back from commercial break just as we are, but not even 5 minutes into the game, Texas is up 10-0 on the visiting top 10 ranked Vanderbilt Commodores. So, Ohio State kicks off, but it looks like we're going to go right back to break. And yes, we will. So we'll get back to the action once again very, very shortly. And it'll be Penn State ball, 1st and 10. Down 7, and we'll see if they can go cut this lead, let alone tie it up. But probably going to be a long afternoon these next 3.5, 4 hours, if I'd have to guess. So, yeah, I'll leave it at that. But just thanks once again for tuning in and listening, and be sure to like, follow, and subscribe on social media. Links in the description below.
Think European accent, yay there.
The Pauline? No, not even. Is it? Maybe I can go. No way, it's the Geico Gecko. This guy knows crosswords. 60/40 cross is quick. Thank you. Get more support. Is that how you spell for content? Get more with Geico. Get 50% off every charge at great every price when you carry out. That includes any piece of size, any toppings, all 50% off. But hurry, there's still one as well. Better ingredients, better pizza, lower jobs. Did you take your vitamins today?
That's my job.
Nature Made. The #1 pharmacist recommended vitamin and supplement brand. Gosh, you'll tell some sorts.
You want more time? I mix and match my way. There's 7 tasty items, and I can get 2 for $5 or 3 for $7.
What you doing, big dog? What's up, buddy? First and 10, Penn State at 25 after the Ohio State touchdown, a commercial break, the kickoff, and then another commercial break. So 6:15 to go in the first. Penn State will run it, and maybe a yard for Katron Allen. So they do give him a yard. It's 2nd and 9. So I was saying, Penn State run game, time possession, clock control. Shrink this game best they can. But momentum's a real thing. They couldn't capitalize off the big play and the field position on the opening drive, punted, and then Ohio State just drove and put it to them, and Penn State's in a hole. So 3rd down. I mean, you got to convert for 1 on 3rd and 3. But it's just, like I said, going to be a long game, long afternoon, and Grunkmeyer going to avoid a sack, but he throws it away incomplete. So 4th down, they'll punt. And, yeah, just get used to it. It's going to be the way it is till fucking 3 o'clock, 3:30. I mean, you can hope for the defense to get a stop. So we talked about turnovers. They're both plus in the turnover margin. Ohio State a little bit more than Penn State. But then special teams. Penn State's been blocking kicks a lot lately. But I mean, shit, they can't even get in fucking field goal range to, kick it right now. So another punt and then a fair caught. Ball around the 25, I believe. And they'll take another commercial break. So it's going to be 1st and 10 Buckeyes from there, and they're probably going to do exactly what they just did on the last drive. And can you blame them? No. So, yeah, just shoot me now, but probably should have before the game even started. But anyways, I'll digress. We'll get back to it here in a minute. Like I said, Penn State's at Ohio State down 7-0. The other game we're watching right now is Vandy at Texas in the SEC. And they're also down against the Longhorns 10-0. And they just punted again. So, yeah, it's just going to be one of those days for Penn State. I mean, it's been one of those days and one of those games and one of those seasons for the blue and white, this year in general as it is. And now here we are in November, and it's going to get worse before it gets better. We know that. But like I've said, they're probably going to be in a position of losing 5, let alone 6 in a row come next weekend, and then going to have to win out to make a bowl game. So, we shall see what happens. That's why I play the game. But, yeah, just frustrating. That's all it is. I know I keep saying that, but that's what it boils down to. It's just frustration. Because this season, late September, a little over a month ago now, hard to believe, time flies, but at the same point in time, it's like, let's get this over and done with, but just went off the rails, and fast. And I mean, they had a good start 2 weeks ago at Iowa. They did. You know, got an early interception, scored off of it. You know, had a lead, had momentum at halftime, had a running game, and then they just didn't score enough points in the long run and couldn't make stops on defense. So yeah, back-to-back 1-point losses, I might add. And just, yeah, they had those 1.1 score games. They've had every loss since the start of last year, I might add, being a 1-score game. Today, gonna be different. I'd be surprised if not. That's why I said Ohio State at minus 18.5. Yeah. Take that minus. Seriously, like, I don't know how much you're going to win off of it, but because Penn State at plus 18.5, plus whatever it is on the money line, you know, that could win you some dough, but got a penalty on the play. Looks like it's going to be against the Penn State defense on a hold or a pass interference. Yeah, it's going to be on Zion Tracy, number 7. That's a good call. Pass was intended for number 1, Brandon Innes. Got a personal foul roughing the passer on Penn State, number 28, Zane Durant. And then the holding's going to be declined. They're going to take the personal foul. So it's not offsetting penalties as he initially said, because offsetting means 1 on each side. You replay it down. Both those penalties were on the Penn State defense, so they declined the defensive hold, even though it was downfield, because it's probably going to be a spot foul. They took the 15 on the late hit for roughing the passer and are going to get a 1st and 10 out of that. So, yeah, 1st and 10 to 41, 3:59 to go here in this first. It's 7-0 Ohio State. And Julian saying down the seam, complete to Brandon Innes, the target of the previous play, and then those penalties occurred. But he catches this one, big 1st down, and they'll move the sticks again, and they're going to look to tack on their lead. Another touchdown probably, but if Penn State can hold them to 3, even better. But it's probably going to be 6, make it 7, and Penn State's down, then 2 scores at 14 rather than 10. I mean, what would be best is they don't score at all. It's still 7-0, but yeah, just pressure. They hit him as he throws it away. Yeah, that's a grounding. That's intentional grounding, but they're not going to call it. I'm not surprised. There's nobody there. That's intentional grounding. Now no foul for intentional grounding. It's incomplete. 2nd and 10. So 2nd and 10 from the 30. And they'll run it. And they'll get it 11 yards and a 1st down. So, yeah, Ohio State's just making it look easy. You can tell how I wouldn't say how much of a mismatch this game is or going to turn into, but just Penn State has stars. Penn State has players that can get it done, but like we've said it before in the past, like whether or not Ohio State's playing for, let alone either winning or losing national championships, the past 25 years, from Jim Tressel to Urban Meyer to Ryan Day, they're always in contention. Always in contention. And they always give Penn State a fit. And a couple completions. We'll give Ohio State here a third and about 2 coming up at the 11. So, they're in the red zone. They're definitely going to score here unless something, dramatically happens. But Penn State's got to dig their way out of their, hole they're sitting in at some point in time. If they're even going to do that today. So 3rd and 2 at the 11. They'll run it and get a 1st and goal now at the 6.5, 7 yard line. Because remember, 2 weeks ago, it was empty the clip. Put them in the fucking dirt. And I don't know what they told the team coming out, of the locker room today by any means, but Ohio State's just once again making it look easy and looking to score here again. So Penn State's got to get the hell off the field on defense. Start there, but even offensively, you get one big play and then a bunch of nothing for the most part. A couple yards here and there, a couple punts. Ohio State can let the clock run out. So at the end of the first quarter, it will be Ohio State 7, Penn State nothing. They'll have to march the whole other end zone to start the second quarter off now. And they're still going to probably punch it in for 6, make it 7 here shortly. So they'll go to break. We'll get back to it. But, yeah, 7-0 at the end of the first. 15 of play. Coming at halftime, we'll have some stats and scores, so stick around for that. But, yeah, Ohio State just, early in Jim Tressel's tenure, after he left Youngstown State, after he won a few national titles there at the FCS level, D1 AA. 2002, Ohio State goes undefeated and wins the national championship. And then they're playing for the national title in both 06 and 07. That was actually the last time that Penn State played in both those seasons, at Ohio State in 06, and then they hosted the number 1 Buckeyes in 07. So the last time Penn State played Ohio State while they were ranked number 1. Last time Penn State played number 1 team was Oregon in the Big Ten title game last year. Penn State hasn't defeated the number 1 team in the country since 1990, as mentioned earlier. But Ohio State was playing for. They're in both national championship games in 06 and 07. Lost to Florida, lost to LSU. And then, we know about how Tressel's tenure ended, tattoo scandal, same point in time. Turner got fired, at Ohio State, or at Penn State, excuse me. And then, Urban, who was at Florida, and won 2 national titles in 3 years, defeated Ohio State in that 06 game, was, in contention for, as we see the Big Ten commercial, coast to coast, but for both as a candidate for Penn State and Ohio State. He's from Ohio, took the Ohio State job. 2012, they had some sanctions. They went undefeated, though, but they couldn't play in a bowl game. And then they made it to New Year's Six next year. 2014, first year of the 14 playoff, Ohio State goes and beats Alabama in the Sugar Bowl, and then Oregon in the national championship game. So, 2014, they're winning another national championship. So that's 4 title appearances in a little over a decade. And then over the past decade, they played it in 20, lost Alabama, but then now they're the defending national champions as they beat Notre Dame down in the ATL this past January to end last season, and were crowned champs. And then obviously there's other years that they probably should have been there, but for whatever reason, one way or another, they weren't. That's what I've said. Like, whether Ohio State's doing this or that, you know damn well what you're going to get. They're a damn good team, and they're probably going to beat you, because they normally do beat Penn State 9 times out of 10. More like 99 out of 100, but yeah. End of the first quarter, 7-0. Start of the second quarter, 7-0 Ohio State. They got a second goal at the 7. And Jolene Sand looking to throw over the middle. It's caught. Amari Campbell on the tackle. He's been playing extremely well this year at linebacker. Penn State went from a 4-3 to a 4-2-5 this year. And obviously then you lose Tony Rojas at linebacker, and then he has to step up. He's been a tackling machine. He makes a stop there. Ohio State's got a 3rd and goal from inside the 5 to the 4. And pressure, pass, almost picked off. So it falls incomplete. It'll be 4th down, and is Ohio State going to kick it or go for it? If they were smart, they'd take the points and go up 2 scores. And it looks like Ryan Day knows what he's doing, and they're going to kick it. So, more power to him. Can't get much closer than this on a field goal. 22-yard field goal. Snap, hold, kick, all good. So Ohio State leads Penn State now 10-0 with 14:08 to go in the first half. And the whale in the Pacific Life commercial does his thing. So cue the music.
6 months.
It's made.
Come on, man. Our soap bitch in your body wash. We're drying you out.
Training sulfate-free for gentle 24-hour freshness. Nice suits.
I smell delicious. It's made.
Whoever stealing my Jersey Mike's cake. Hey, Danny, Jersey Mike's is not an official sponsor of the NFL.
You sneaky. But you're first, you steal my look, now you steal my job.
Danny, I just love these subs.
Make Jersey Mike's a game day thing.
Let's settle for five.
Big Blue Saturday is sponsored by Pacific Life. Building confident futures for nearly 160 years. Pacific Life Blue Summer is sponsored by Pacific Life. Building confident futures for nearly 160 years. So far, so long has been all Ohio State there. 10-0. Confident Michigan State. Basketball runs only 40 total yards in only 4 minutes into the possession. Meanwhile, Julian Santana continuing to be efficient as he has all year.
Ohio State kicks off. Penn State will let this roll into the end zone for another touchback. So 1st and 10 for the blue and white from 25 once again. So got to get something going on offense. 2 drives and 2 punts. And you only had 1 good play. And it was the first play of the game. Everything since has been for a couple yards, and drive still results in the same thing, a punt. Bubble screen complete. Devontae Ross, he's going to lose a yard, so 2nd and long.
There's a little bit of Halloween spirit that's been happening with the Buckeyes. And, you think this guy, Jackson, a bit scary on the edge. Oh, they're dressed up for Halloween. The famous Mike
Boogeyman's coming to get you.
Now, he would not take the mask off. I finally convinced her, like, please show me who you are. He said, I've been walking around scaring people. I got Coach Johnson. I got Coach
So 2nd and 11. Couple yard run. 3rd down. I mean, yeah, they have to bank on the run today, but they can't beat it like a dead horse, and unless it's working, then by all means run the damn ball. But they're gonna have to air this thing out here before too long, and whatever fucking happens. Let Grunk chuck it. Let him throw it. And none of this, yard or 2, and like go forward, go vertical. So they do throw a slant. Devontae Ross again, so his go-to target today. But he's still going to be short. It's still going to be 4th down. And, or did he get enough for that 1st down? Right at the marker. All right, they do give him the 1st down. It looked like he was going to be short. So they do air it out there and convert and get a 1st down. So rather than a 3 and out, at least they got some little spark. Grunkmeyer looking to throw again. Another pass down the middle, but it's behind his intended target, number 1, Kyron Hudson, transfer from USC. So 2nd and 10 after the incompletion. And they'll dump it off. Nick Singleton in a foot race to the 50. Yeah, just a quick screen to the back. They got another 1st and 10. They were running up the middle with some hurry up. Get probably about 4 yards there. So 2nd and 5. Fat man gets to about the 38. So they'll move the sticks again. All right, so now they got some sort of drive going here. Probably a hold or a block in the back they got away with, but oh well, I'll take it. But you gotta just keep moving, man. Keep marching forward. Go get some points. Go cut this lead. Liam Clifford, the little red dog, Sean's little brother, just threw the football. They ran an end around to him, and then he was going to throw it. And, hey, it's incomplete. So, 2nd and 10. So they just wasted that play. But what can you do? You know, they get, at times, too caught up in the moment, and it's just stick to the basics, you know. Don't be getting, tricky. I get you want to catch this defense off guard, but so 2nd and 10 after the incompletion. So now 3rd and 10 after no gain. And can they get some yards and kick a field goal? Because they're in the situation 2 weeks ago, and then they threw an interception. And, all right, they get another 1st down. Complete Liam Clifford. And they'll move the sticks. So, yeah, your wide receivers, obviously, from Hudson to Ross to Pena, 1, 5, and 8, respectively, from USC, Troy, and Syracuse. Liam Clifford, number 2, he's been on the team for a while. He's from the Columbus area, Cincinnati area. Obviously, little red dog, Sean Clifford's little brother. So he was a big red dog quarterback before Drew Allard. Tyser Denmark, number 5's played a little bit. Kobe Howard, true freshman, played, had his first catch a couple weeks ago at Iowa as well. I haven't seen him yet today. But they've gone by committee all season at tight end, replacing Tyler Warren with, Luke Reynolds, Khalil Dinkins, and Andrew Rappel. But there's still really nothing at all to the tight ends whatsoever this year. And that continues into today. They get 2 yards there, 2nd and 8. Now they'll motion everybody. See what they draw up here. They'll run a toss. A little shuffle to Singleton. And he gets another 1st down. And they got a 1st and goal inside the 10, it looks like. All right, punch this fucker in. Third time, 3rd drive. Hopefully, knock on wood, it's a charm. They had a big play on the first play of the game, and then nothing since with the 2 punts. Ohio State scores 10 points in the meantime. You finally got a drive going. You got to punch this in. I'm still taking my points if it comes down to it. I am. Did Ohio State call timeout? Yes, they're 1st. So Penn State ball, 1st and goal. 7 minutes and change to play in this first half when we come back. But you got to punch this in and score 7. Because then you're only down 3. But once again, I'm still taking my points if it comes down to it and kicking the field goal. Because I'd rather only be down, Well, 3 for 1 if you score a touchdown, but then, 7 if you can kick a field goal. Obviously, you'll need a stop compared to be down still two scores. When Ohio State's driving, making it look easy, controlling the clock, because you can't get off the field on defense, and now you finally got a drive going here on offense. You got to get points. You got to make stops. You just got to give yourself a chance. It goes back to, once again, what does Penn State have to lose today? Not a damn thing. So go out and shock the world. Just find a way. Even though it's still going to be a long game, long afternoon. Because who knows, this might be their only damn good drive of the game. So just you got to take advantage of what you got. So we'll see if they do and can score points or not. But yeah, time out Ohio State, they're first. So Penn State will still have all 3, plus 2-minute warning as well. So we'll get back to the action here shortly. But thanks once again for tuning in and listening. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe to social media. Links in the description below. And then at halftime, we'll update some stats and scores, recap, preview in college football, and go from there. So, yeah, just Ohio State want to make sure they're ready. Penn State's doing to them what they've done to us now on their drives, and that's just move it downfield and score points. But, I mean, just don't turn the ball over here. No turnovers. You get this far down and, goal to go, and, yeah, just, we'll see. As Ohio State has not allowed a touchdown in the first half this season. They're the only team to say they haven't in all college football. So Matt Patricia, the defense coordinator now for Ohio State, taking over Jim Knowles, who's at Penn State. Obviously, former Penn Stater Larry Johnson has been Ohio State's defensive line coach since 2014, after James Franklin did not retain him, unlike Bill O'Brien, who did. But here nor there. Second and goal. Got to score. Especially when you're going, this is going to be the 14th play of the drive and almost 70 yards. In 7 minutes, almost the whole entire, second quarter to this point. Second and goal from inside the 10 at the 8. They'll run it up the middle, got third and goal at the 3. Where's Fat Man? Where is the Fat Man at? Yesterday was Halloween. A lot of people dressing up as Batman. But Katron Allen, 13, where are you? Singleton's going to be in the ball game, and he might break the touchdown record for Penn State come season's end. We'll see. But Fat Man's had a touchdown, as Singleton does score a touchdown Penn State. All right. They do punch it in. We are now only down 4. We are Penn State, though, as always, 6:18 to go in this first half. So extra point to come. So then only being down 3 if it's good. But as I was saying, Katron Allen's had at least 1 touchdown in every single game so far this season. I say that way because there's been some games he's had 2. But Singleton getting some touches, and yeah, he walks in. And here comes Ryan Barker for the PAT, which is good. So 10-7. And back to the defense. Got to get a stop, man. Got to get a stop. So they respond. It took them a little while to get going. You know, they had to obviously punt those first two drives, even after the big play, and not being able to, capitalize off the field position. Because who knows? I mean, maybe there's 3 points on that opening drive if they, moved the ball a little bit more. But they didn't. Credit to Ohio State's defense. Ohio State drove and scored. Ohio State got the ball back again, scored once more. And then, Penn State, all right. They go score, put up 7, but they just can't do that and take up all that time just for this defense when we come back to potentially give up another, long scoring drive. Especially with 6:18, 6:20 to go in the half. Timeout wise, Penn State with 3, Ohio State with 2, 2-minute warning as well. But I mean, if I'm Ohio State, I'm gonna drive, work clock, go score before halftime, because then they get the ball back to begin the second half, and then you're looking to tack on your lead even more. Get a 2-for-1, yeah. Double dip at it, if you will, and just Penn State's in even a bigger hole at that rate. So at least they put up points. We'll see how long the 3-point deficit lasts. But if this defense can make some stops, offensively they get the ball back then, with some time and timeouts to work with before halftime themselves, then by all means, go tie this game up at 10 if it's, still a 3-point game, unless they, say, force a kick, or if they do give a score, you still got to cut the lead. Just keep at it, Just don't let this be the only good drive of the game and, the only points you're going to have, to show for it. And at least they're not going to get shut out now today. We know that much. But once again, what do they have to lose? Nothing. So go out and give it to them. So we'll see how the defense responds. It's going to depend on that. It is. If they can get a stop, get the ball back, you might be looking at a tie game here before too long, let alone a Penn State lead for all we know. I don't know. So I'll leave it at that. But yeah, Singleton gets the Penn State touchdown. As Ohio State had the passing touchdown from Julian Saying to Jeremiah Smith, 22-yard field goal as well. But Gronkmeyer now 6'8", 56 yards. The fat man, Katron Allen, 10 carries, 46 yards rushing. Singleton, 3 of 13. And the 3-yard scamper into the end zone for 6. Singleton also has 2 catches, 29 yards receiving, leading the team in receiving right now as well. So, yeah. Come on, defense, where you at? Well, we're going to have to wait. They're going to go to fucking commercial break again. They just love doing this, don't they? They go to commercial break, and it's only Fox that does this for the big noon game in college football. Somebody will score. They'll go to break, give us a long commercial break, come back to it, have the kickoff, just to go back to another long commercial break. So we're at the ladder of that right now in the second commercial break. And, we'll get back to it again. So, I mean, at least this defense is going to be rested. That's the good thing with that long Penn State scoring drive there. This defense has been on the sideline, and we'll see if they get off the field and get back on the sideline here in a couple of plays, hopefully, and then the offense back out there to go, add on to what they just did. So, yeah, just thing is, too, Ohio State's offense is also going to be rested up, and they've already went on 2 long scoring drives as well. So, Just can't catch a break. Turnover would be nice, honestly. You know, neither team has turned it over just yet. And then, you know, points off of it, you know, would be even better. Especially in a game like this. You know, when it has been a one-score affair. 18 total times all time. But the past decade, you know, the winning margin is, you know, by one score, and just Penn State's got to do everything right, and they got to capitalize off of Ohio State's mistakes. So, which they really haven't done anything wrong yet, but so just saying a turnover would be nice. So, we'll see. So as Fox honors our United States military and veterans, as we're now into November, Veterans Day, a week and a half from now. Penn State will have a home game next Saturday against Indiana, Veterans Day weekend. Obviously, we'll talk more about that then, but yeah, as always, shout out to the United States military. Shout out to our vets, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard. Thank you for your service. But first and 10 Ohio State, pass incomplete, second and 10 here from 25. They'll run it, get 5, maybe 6 as he's tripped up. See where they spot it at, third down. Come on, defense, get off the field. You got Ohio State third down, you know, after 2 plays. I don't think that's happened yet today. And even if it has, Ohio State's still converted, so you got to get a stop, all right? Got to get a stop, get off the field, get the ball back. 3rd and 5 from the 30. And Penn State brings pressure. He avoids a sack, steps up, of course. He's going to get a first down. 9 to the 39, and that close. That fucking close. Yeah, denied Dennis Sutton almost had him. Somebody else almost had him as well. I didn't get a number. But then the crosser over the middle on first down, complete. Jeremiah Smith, he gets a first down before getting pushed out of bounds by 16, King Mack. So 1st and 10, yeah, Penn State's always in position, you know, and then they get fucking fucked, you know. 1st and 10. From the 48, 1st and 10. And out of the pistol, they'll run Bo, as he knows. This ain't Bo Jackson from back in the day. This is Ohio State's Bo Jackson. He gets 3 yards, 2nd down. And 7 to 4:09 and counting to play in this first half. 10-7 Ohio State. Got to get off the field. Got to get off the field, defense. So from the Penn State 45, 2nd and 7 Ohio State. Left to right across your television screen ready on a dial. Going deep. And he's got a man and Brandon Tate. Or Carnell Tate, sorry. And he catches it, and it's a touchdown. So Penn State scores, and then Ohio State responds, lickety spit, just like that, and extends the lead back to 9, make it 10. 16-7, extra point to come. Zion Tracy was on the coverage. He had a penalty called against him earlier. Remember, Tracy had the pick 6 against Ohio State last year. But extra point good. 17-7, 3:41 to go. In the half, I mean, all right, you still got that time in the 3 timeouts with 2-minute warning. Penn State here to go do something to, respond and cut this lead once again. That's a tough break. He almost had him sacked on 3rd down. He gets the 1st down, and then a couple plays later, they go deep and score. Nothing you can do about it. Ohio State's they're that good. So you got to give credit where credit's due, Starts with respect, until you respect them because of what they do. It's just one of those situations. But Penn State now has a chance, once again, like I said, just to go back and do what they just did. It's going to be in half the amount of time they went on the last scoring drive on. But they're going to have to do something here before halftime if they're going to want to keep themselves in this game and they'll return this kickoff, unlike all the other ones that were touchbacks. Let's see where they mark them down at, but it'll be 1st and 10 here at Penn State. But Ohio State's going to get the ball back to begin the second half. And being down 2 scores at halftime, if you don't do anything here, you're going to be down 3 scores probably. And then it's just going to steamroll into 4, make it 5, 6, so on and so forth. You get my point. So, yeah. You got to add on to what you just did. And they'll run Fat Man. He gets 8-9 yards, so keep at it. Keep running it. Let Grunk air it out, though. They got to get these tight ends involved, man. There's been nothing whatsoever with the tight ends this year. That's incomplete, intended for the Syracuse transfer and Trevor Pena. So 3rd and a yard. Well, first off, get the 1st down. I don't want you fucking throwing this 50 yards downfield right now. 3rd and 1, get 1, 2 yards. Okay? And then work out of there. Because then you'll still have 3 and change and 3 timeouts, 2-minute warning. I'll take a field goal on this drive. You're only down 7, then 1 score at half. You get something go your way, early 3rd quarter, then even better. They'll run the Fat Man. They get the 1st down. All right. Get back to it, though. You got to have some sense of urgency here because, time is, but time ain't on your side. Because 3 minutes and 3 timeouts with 2-minute warning is an eternity. Obviously, you don't want to give Ohio State any time either, so you do want to work some clock. But this drive, compared to their last drive, is half the time that they, took to score that one on, and then back to their earlier drives, they didn't do a damn thing. So, 1st and 10, out of the pistol, hand off, and no gain on the play. So 2nd and 10. Second and 10. Grunt going to avoid a sack. And then he throws it behind the intended target. I believe that was Khalil Dinkins. Yeah, 16, the tight end. And now it's 3rd and 10 with 2:14 to go. And if you don't convert, timing-wise, Ohio State's probably going to get the ball back on the plus side of 2-minute warning with 2 timeouts, so 3 timeouts then. With a chance to, tack on to their lead here before halftime. And then they still get the ball back to begin the second half. So 3rd and 10. Grunkemeier's pass, high, incomplete. No defensive hold, no pass interference, nope. 4th down, no punt. So, all right, Ohio State can get the ball back. Around the 2-minute warning here after this punt, depending on how much time comes off. And then, they still have the 2 timeouts, but that 3rd timeout's 2-minute warning. And up 10, going to look to add on to that, plus they'll get the ball back to begin the second half. So it might be getting ugly. Uglier than what it already is. And Penn State will punt, obviously, but it's a touchback. So 17-7, actually right at the 2-minute warning now. So Ohio State can get the ball back. 1st and 10, ball at 20. Off the touchback, off the punt. And, 17-7, 10-point lead, 2 timeouts. So they don't get that 3rd because it is right now with the break before they even ran a play. So still 1st and 10, though, 2 timeouts, up 10, and they're going to hope to get points. Like Ohio State, if they don't score a touchdown, they'll be kicking a field goal here before halftime. And I'd be surprised if they, aren't. And then they're going to get the ball back once again to begin the second half. And Penn State had one good drive, so. That's going to be it for the first half for the offense. And maybe the only good drive of the whole entire game. We'll see. Got to make a stop on defense. But just when we thought, obviously, they not necessarily were going to, but they could have, because they had the chance on the last drive after they had scored. They had him wrapped up on a sack. He got away, got a 1st down. And, a couple plays later, then they scored. And then you go 3 and out. So, Penn State's had, 4 drives? Only 7 points to show for, because 3 of those 4 drives have resulted in punts. I mean, just lucky they haven't, turned the ball over yet. But then even so, you look at it that way, Ohio State's still scoring, when they get the ball back anyway. So whether it's points off of a turnover or not, they're still scoring. So, just frustrating, but we talked about all this coming into the game. With, the tough test. But then once again, Penn State doesn't have anything to lose, so go out and find a way, but that's probably, unless they can get a break and something to go their way here before too long, it's going to be over here before too long. If this keeps up. Yeah. Well, it probably already is. Because it probably already was at 12 noon when this game kicked off. So, yeah. First and 10 from the 20 after the Penn State punt. Ohio State ball, up 10 with 2 timeouts. I mean, shit, they might even not even do anything here. Oh, Penn State has the ball. The Chasmanian Devil, Chaz Coleman, has the football. So do they get a break? Do they get a fucking turnover and get a fumble? Is that Penn State ball? All right, let's go. It looked like he was down. I'm surprised they didn't blow that dead. But then the ball just popped out and Penn State picks it up, runs it back a good 5-8 yards or so. And now Penn State's got a short field with time and timeouts to cut this lead. So they do get a fucking break, man. All right. You got to capitalize off of it. You got to score off the turnover. But they're going to look at it. Previous plays on a further review. So, yeah. He wasn't down, but did they blow it dead? That's the thing. Is there a whistle? Because if so, they'll overturn it. But the call on the field is a fumble, and it's a fumble recovery for Penn State. So they have to find indisputable evidence to overturn it. That's why I thought he was down. I think everybody thought he was down. And the ball just popped out, and Penn State picks it up. And then, oh shit, he's running it back. I mean, you got to go with the call on the field. They said fumble. Yeah, that's clearly out. That's clearly a fumble. But like I said, did they blow it dead? That is the thing. Did they blow it dead? It's upheld. It stands. First down, Penn State. Let's go. So 1st and 10, Penn State. Might even be goal to go inside the 10. We'll see where they're going to spot this at. But a minute 48, 1st and 10 officially. All right. Minute 48 to go in the half. They're down 10. After the punt, when, they had scored, Ohio State scored, punt, you get the fumble. You got a very short field with a minute 48 and 3 timeouts. Yeah, I'm kicking a field goal, comes down to it, but you got to score another touchdown. 1st and 10 from the 14. Where's the fat man at when you need him? Just don't turn it right back over to him, So they'll run it for 2 yards. 2nd and 8 from the 12 now. And, I mean, with this time and the 3 timeouts, you're definitely going to want to work the clock. Because you don't want to give it back to him again, even though they probably won't do anything then. But because you already give it back to him once to have them potentially do something before halftime. Because remember, they're still getting the ball back, Ohio State is, to begin the 3rd quarter. So, you got to strike while the iron's hot. They're playing a little AC/DC TNT, so let's boom, go dynamite and score a fucking touchdown here. 3rd down from around the 10 with a minute to go in the half. Oh, shit. What are they going to fucking do now? Oh, God. 3rd and 6 from the 10. $40 seconds. 3rd and 6 from right inside the 10. And they got trips in a bunch bottom of your screen. Right to left across your television screen and out for Penn State. And their road whites. And got a whistle and a timeout. Ohio State, Penn State, who called it? Okay, Ohio State called their 2nd timeout. They'll have 1 left. Penn State was still all 3. 27 seconds here to go. And they got a 3rd and 6 coming up. Well, what do you draw up, man? They'll probably throw a fucking fade. 3rd and 6? Can they get 6 yards on a run? Yeah. But are they going to run it? Should they run it? Probably not, but as I'm telling you, where in the hell are the tight ends at? I wouldn't be surprised they run a fucking bubble screen or a screen out of the backfield, you know, whether that'd be the right call or not, but same formation. 3rd and 6, they're going to run a shuffle pass up the middle. Fat man gets to the 1, and they got a 1st and goal. All right. Timeout. Call fucking timeout. You got 1st and goal, 23 seconds at the 1 with 3 timeouts. Call one of your 3 timeouts. Make sure you're set and ready to fucking go. Okay, they do call a timeout. Thank you. I mean, that is a ballsy play call. It was executed, though, to a T, so they do dot the I and get a 1st and goal at the 1 now. But that very well could have been knocked down, even worse, picked off, you know, and you're not getting any points. But if it was knocked down, you're kicking a field goal. But you got a 1st and goal at the 1, 23 seconds and 2 timeouts after that timeout. Fucking sneak it. You know, go old school. Run a fucking fullback dive. Run the fat man. The wing tee disappeared a couple years ago, but 1st and goal, Penn State from the 1. Looking to cut this lead before halftime and capitalize off of an Ohio State fumble. You got to fucking punch this in. Let's go. And they'll run it. Fat man, no. They say touchdown, though. The one ref says touchdown. The other one doesn't know what to say yet. And touchdown, Penn State. They're going to definitely look at this. I don't know if he got in. Oh, okay, that's a touchdown right there. Yeah, clearly. He reached. Across the goal line there, so to speak. Touchdown for Penn State. We are boom. And we'll see about that 7 points later on. You know, with points off of a turnover. Boos coming down from the Buckeye faithful. So Barker on for the extra point. As Brutus walks around, kicks good. So 17-14 with 20 seconds to go in the half. So 2 rushing touchdowns for Penn State now today. And the difference is a 22-yard field goal. Or else we'd be tied up right now. You know, Ohio State has 2 passing touchdowns. Penn State has 2 rushing touchdowns. Ohio State 22-yard field goal, that's the difference. But Penn State has 7 points off of the Ohio State turnover there. So they have momentum. You can't let it slip and slide and fall out of your hands once again. But fight on state. We are. So they'll kick this deep. Ohio State, depending on the return, if any at all, will probably just take a knee. And it will be a touchback, so Ohio State does here from the 25 with a timeout. Yeah, last time Penn State beat the number 1 team was 1990 at Notre Dame, as mentioned earlier. They've played the number 1 team in the country a handful of times since. And Ohio State's been a part of, a few of those games. At home and on the road, for that matter. But it's been a while. Penn State just not beat the number 1 team in the country, but won on this very date of November the 1st. That was 1997. So Ohio State will take a knee, and we'll go to halftime with Ohio State up now only 3. 17-14. Ohio State will receive the second half kick because Penn State got the ball to begin the game. And Terry Smith interview going into half. Let's continue to empty the clip. Put them in the fucking dirt. Continue to fight, exactly. They have nothing to fucking lose. Go shock the world. Exactly. Carry the momentum. They had momentum at Iowa 2 weeks ago. Remember the blocked field goal, scored off of it, and then they had the running game, and then they just, didn't score enough points. Lost another 1-point game. We got a shot. That's right. And we are Penn State. Thanks for tuning in and listening. So at halftime, Ohio State leads 17-14. Ethan Grunkmeyer in for Drew Aller once again today. 7 of 12, 64 yards. But Penn State, 19 carries, 77 yards rushing, 2 rushing touchdowns. As a team, Singleton got in from 3 yards out as he has 3 carries, 13 yards in the score. The fat man, Katron Allen, 16 carries, 64 yards rushing, and a 1-yard rushing touchdown to capitalize off of the fumble and score just prior to halftime. Singleton also leading the team in receiving right now, 2 catches, 29 yards. Devontae Ross, 3-14. Liam Clifford, 1 of 13. Katron Allen, 1 of 8. I mean, Grunk didn't even throw for 100 yards at Iowa. He might today at Ohio State, but you're in another one-score game with the Ohio State Buckeyes, and you have a running game. Keep running the goddamn ball, okay? They're lucky to get the turnover. Because I think everybody and their mother not necessarily thought he was down, but that he was rolled down for progress. But the ball was popped loose by the defense. They picked it up, ran it back a couple yards. They looked at it. It was fumble on the field. Obviously, it stood in the long run, and then they, score off of it. So, the 22-yard field goal is the difference now, but another difference is the fumble, and they have points off of it. Still down 3, though. The defense just got to continue to make stops. If they can run the football and make stops and not give up touchdowns, they got to get this game to the fourth quarter. That's what they got to do. They got to get this game into the fourth quarter with a chance to win it. If they can do that, then all right. We'll see what happens after that. But yeah, Coleman recovered the fumble. They have 2 tackles for loss on defense. One by Keon Wiley, which is earlier in the game. And then Alonzo Ford and Amari Campbell have a half apiece. But no sacks on Julian Sang just yet. So, if they can stop the run, which, they are. Ohio State 15 of 53 total as a team between 4 backs. Well, 3 backs and the quarterback. Bo Jackson, 5 of 21. Isaiah West, 3 of 13. CJ Donaldson, 5 of 11. Julian Sand, 1 of 9. But then to, stop the run, force pressure, create and capitalize off more turnovers might be the difference in the long run. Sand is 11 of 14, 168 yards, and the 2 passing touchdowns. So as mentioned, Ohio State has the 2 passing touchdowns. Penn State has the 2 rushing touchdowns, and then Ohio State has a 22-yard field goal. Cardinal Tate, 368 receiving and a score. Jeremiah Smith got on the board early. 4 catches for him, 55 yards, and the touchdown as well. As Ohio State was up 7-0, and then 10-0, and then Penn State scored, and then Ohio State scored again, and then Penn State got the ball back, punted, but then forced a fumble, and then you get into, trying to score off that real quick, before halftime. They do. It's 17-14 at the half. Ohio State, unfortunately, though, will get the ball back to begin the third quarter. As Penn State received, first play of the game, had a 25-yard run out to midfield from the fat man, Katron Allen, but then they couldn't capitalize off field position, had to punt on the second drive. Third drive was charm. They scored, but then they're still down even more, because it was a 7-point to 10-point game, and then to 3, and then back to another 10-point swing, down 10 again, and then they get the fumble, down 3 again. So don't give up touchdowns. You can't, because you're just back down 10 again then, and then it's just going to repeat itself. If you can force kicks, I'll take it. But then it'd be even better and get the hell off the field on defense, not give up anything. Like Ohio State, I don't even think has punted yet today. And, you're lucky to have the turnover. But then the offense, they got to get into rhythm like they were on that long touchdown drive. So they've shown they can score on a 7-minute touchdown drive that went the length, let alone in fucking 30 seconds, and soft turnover as well. So that's even better. Ohio State with 12 first downs, Penn State with 8. Both teams are converting on third down, so that's going to be crucial in the second half for Penn State. They got to get the hell off the field on third down. Ohio State's 4 or 5 on third down. Penn State 5 of 8. Passing to rushing. Ohio State has more passing. Penn State has more rushing. So 221 total for the Buckeyes with 168 passing and 53 rushing. And then Penn State with 64 passing and 76 rushing for a $140. Only 1 penalty, am I reading that right, for 15 yards? So pretty clean game thus far. I get we're at halftime, but watch, these Zebras will start fucking throwing yellow flags all over the place this second half, if I'd have to guess. And shit, I'll be damned. Penn State is actually controlling the clock by what? 20 seconds, if that? 15:08 to 14:52. So, 1 penalty for 15 yards against Penn State. And remember, that was the roughing the passer. They had a defensive pass interference get called against them on the same play, but they declined that one, took the 15. Ohio State, nothing. But then they have the turnover. So, and Penn State has 7 points off of that. So, 17-14. And only if they didn't kick a 22-yard field goal, we'd be tied at 14 right now. We are Penn State. Penn State's lost 4 in a row. Trying not to lose 5 in a row, obviously. They haven't lost 5 in a row since 2020, as mentioned earlier. Let alone 6 since 03 and 04, 7 since 1931. Penn State's never lost 8 in a row, ever, in the football program's history. So like I said earlier, we'll see what happens over this next month with Ohio State, Indiana, Michigan State, Nebraska, and Rutgers down the stretch. But, plus 18.5 is looking pretty damn good right now. But once again, even with expecting, an ass kicking today, just with how good Ohio State is and, what Penn State's up against and how they've played with the circumstances. Once again, what do they have to lose? Nothing. Not a goddamn thing. So, there's probably a lot of people talking right now. Oh, Ohio State's in trouble, Rightfully so, because Penn State has them right where they want them, But then it's, not Monday Night Football almost 20 years ago, and Dennis Green ain't coaching anymore. Rest in peace to him, but Penn State cannot leave Ohio State off the hook, okay? So don't let them off the hook. They got them right where they fucking want them at. They got to keep putting it to them. But don't be surprised at the same point in time Ohio State just comes out the second half and blows their fucking doors off. All right. So I'll leave that at that. But yeah, once again, Penn State, like we've been saying since the start, what do they have to lose? Nothing. You know, they're 3-4. You know, nobody's giving them a chance. Go out and prove everybody wrong. Shock the world. You know, Terry Smith as the interim. They go beat Ohio State on the road, number one team in the country. That coaching candidacy, coaching carousel discussion will take a real sharp turn. But we're not getting into that right now. Potentially later, though. We'll see. But yeah, just another one-score game with these two. You know, even though Ohio State leads the all-time series against Penn State 26-14, and Penn State hasn't beat the Buckeyes since 2016, and they haven't won at Ohio State since 2011. Remember, in 2011, Tom Bradley was the interim, and they went out there and won a one-score game in the shoe. Here we are, another one-score game with an interim head coach for the blue and white. So, don't tell me history doesn't repeat itself. But, like I said earlier, once again, hang around, run the ball, control the clock. You know, turnovers and points off turnovers. They're doing all that. You know, they are. They're hanging around. They're running the ball better than Ohio State. They're controlling the clock. They have points off of a turnover before halftime. You know, nothing special teams wise just yet. You know, the difference is a 22-yard field goal. If only Penn State, say, you know, the opening drive, you know, after it stalled out after that big play, you know, got a couple more yards, maybe you have 3 points there. Maybe you're tied at 17 rather than tied at 14. You know what I mean? And both backs have, you know, rushing touchdowns. So Fat Man scored again. And, you know, once again, when there's a will, there's a way. So, once again, time to put up or shut up. You know, I've been saying that for about a month, and it's gone downhill, but it's, you know, still meaningful. They got to just keep doing what they're doing. Keep doing and playing Penn State football. The little things add up in the long run. They do. So, yeah, I'll leave it at that, and we'll see how this second half unfolds. But Ohio State's up 17-14 at the half here on the Blue and White Penn State Lines. Just once again, thank you for tuning in and listening. As always, thank you for support. Always greatly appreciated. As always, I'm your host, Encyclopedia of Sports, Cohen Luke 96. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe on social media. Links in the description below. That'll be Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Hit that red subscribe button to the page bell next to it as well to stay up to date. Links in the description below. Thumbs up button if you're enjoying. Thumbs up button for Penn State finds a way to win this game. Share hashtag college football, hashtag Penn State, hashtag Ohio State. Chat questions and comments, super chat, super sticker, super like, super thanks. Always get appreciated as well. As this video is powered by Rogue Energy, HopeKThrifts, and Dead and Hungry. So go check them out. Links for Rogue Energy, HopeKThrifts, Dead and Hungry also in the description. And then I would normally say, well, I will say, hit the hype button if available. If there's a hype button on your YouTube screen, hit it. Thank you. But as I normally say, yeah, scan the QR code behind me if you haven't done so already. Send this audio only, and we're participating in the Ohio State blackout here today. Be sure to click the first top link in the description below. Click the first top link in the description below. It's as good as a QR code. So 17-14 at the half. And Ohio State can get the ball back to begin this third quarter. We'll update some scores here in a minute as they come in. But on Thursday night in the NFL, we had the Baltimore Ravens defeat the Miami Dolphins 28-6. Tomorrow in the National Football League, the Steelers will host the Colts. I'll have live play, watch along reactions over on YouTube then, so be sure to tune back in. And then obviously we'll get into next weekend and the weeks and months to come as football season rolls on. But also tomorrow, officially week 9 in the NFL, Bears, Bengals. Oh my, Vikings, Lions as well in the NFC North. Panthers, Packers. The Chargers will be in Music City taking on the Titans. Falcons up in Foxborough. Boston, Mass against the 6-2 New England Patriots. 49ers traveling across country to take on the Big Blue New York Football Giants. Colts, Steelers as mentioned, as Pittsburgh will look to bounce back after 2 consecutive losses against arguably one of the, if not the best team in the NFL right now. Broncos, Texans tomorrow as well. Jaguars will be in Sin City taking on the Silver and Black Raiders. Saints, Rams. Everyone will see Chiefs, Bills on CBS. And then Sunday Night Football is Seattle and Washington. The Seahawks and the Redskins. The Washington football team now Commanders, whatever the hell you want to call them. Monday Night Football, Cardinals, Cowboys. As the Browns, Jets, Eagles, and Bucks are all on bye weeks. But now in college football, as Ohio State leads Penn State 17-14 at halftime, we had earlier this week in college football, it's been like this now for a couple weeks, and it's going to continue. Football's on every day from now until the end of the season. But, you know, you have your weekday games. You know, obviously the NFL, Thursday night. You know, they'll get to the Saturday games a month or so from now. But then, you know, obviously the NFL owns Sundays, Monday Night Football. But then college football, you have your weekday games, Tuesday, Wednesday, you know, Thursday, Friday, and then obviously all day Saturday as well. So, yeah, there's football on 7 days a week. And we had this past Tuesday, I know because I haven't, you know, really updated, recapped, or previewed some college football and NFL games the past few weeks for whether it be a Penn State or Pittsburgh Steeler, live play, watch along reaction stream, just simply because during the games we haven't got to it. Because we've been talking about this and that with everything going on in the respective game. So, get to a little recap here for this week in college football and the NFL. Obviously, just previewed what's to come this weekend in the National Football League. But I think by this point, everybody already knows what the hell's going on in the sport. One way or another anyway. If not, by all means, you can go ahead and look it up yourself. Ain't going to bother me one bit. But this past week in college football, on Tuesday night, Kennesaw State beat UTEP 33-20. JMU went to Texas State and beat the Bobcats 52-20. Jacksonville State with a 3-point win at Middle Tennessee State 24-21. And Missouri State won a one-score game at home against FIU, who Penn State defeated 2 months ago. And the last noon game, actually, for Penn State, they haven't played at noon since they hosted Florida National. You know, obviously had a 3:30 game to kick off the year, noon game against the Panthers. And then another 3:30 game, which was the last win. You know, they went on a bye, had the whiteout at night, lost to Oregon double overtime, went to UCLA at 3:30, hosted Northwestern at 3:30 on homecoming, Went to Iowa 2 weeks ago at night. So they had a bye week, 4-game losing streak, bye week, down 3 at halftime here at Ohio State today. About to kick off the second half, it looks like. Ohio State getting the ball, but yeah, on Wednesday night, which was October the 29th, and we are Penn State. It was a 14-year anniversary of 409 for Joseph Vince Paterno. But Missouri State beat Florida International 28-21 on Wednesday, as Jacksonville State beat Memphis Tennessee State as well, 24-21. Thursday night football. Obviously, like I said, Ravens slaughter the Dolphins on Prime. Coastal Carolina with a 44-27 win at home against Marshall. They wore, with their teal turf, glow-in-the-dark uniforms. UTSA, 48-26 win in San Antonio against the Green Wave of Tulane. And then last night, had a double overtime FCS game that didn't get over till 2 a.m. with Idaho and northern Arizona, with the Vandals, the potato farmers, going to the desert and winning. But Memphis beat Rice 38-14. North Carolina went to the Carrier Dome and juiced the Syracuse Orange 27-10. And then Louisiana Tech with a 55-14 win against winless Sam Houston State. So Penn State kicks off to begin this second half. We'll have a touchback. And as we kick off this second half with Ohio State up 17-14, also right now, Texas is up on Vandy 24-10. Miami 10-7 at SMU. West Virginia and Houston in the Dana Holgerson Bowl, even though he's no longer the head coach of either team. They're tied at 21 in the Big 12. Illinois up 21-6 at home over Rutgers. Duke and Clemson in a good one, tied at 28. Baylor up 20-3 against UCF. UConn 24-zip leading UAB. Army 10-3 at Air Force. North Texas up on Navy 24-10. Buffalo the 21-0 lead at Bowling Green. And then Iowa State leading Arizona State 10-9 early second quarter. And then we'll get into East Carolina, Temple, Louisville, Virginia Tech, New Mexico, UNLV, and then the rest of the 3:30 games this afternoon, and what's still to come tonight, as we'll fall back, obviously, with daylight savings time. Get an extra hour. Maybe we'll be celebrating a Penn State win in the meantime, but 1st and 10, Buckeyes are going to go deep. And, yeah, Tate once again, and they got a 1st and goal at the 5. So, yeah, I'm not surprised one bit. I'm not. Like I said, even with everything, that went Penn State's way there right before halftime, I also said at halftime, don't be surprised Ohio State, comes out here and just fucking blows the doors away and doors off. So they get a 1st down, and then they go deep. And, yeah, Carnell Tate once again, he's definitely going to have over 100 yards receiving now. Ohio State's got a 1st and goal at the 4. So, said you can only, really give up field goals. You can't be giving up touchdowns and being back, obviously, down 10, as you've been down twice, 10-0 and then 17-7. But they're on the cusp of being down 10 again, 24-14 here, because Ohio State's a yard away from scoring once again. So, come on, defense. Because, yeah, just as obviously Penn State, hits them with a punch, well, Ohio State's allowed to punch back. So, 2nd and goal at the 2. They stuff them. 3rd and goal at the 2. Come on, defense. If you can force field goal, that's at this rate, that's what you're going to, have to do. Unless they go for it on 4th and goal. But, because obviously you already gave it the big play. at least if they do have to settle for 3, it's a quick drive, and then time-wise, Penn State still got some time. Ohio State, we're running on 3rd and goal. They'll walk in, touchdown. God damn it. So 23-14. Extra point to come, and yeah, it's just back to another 10-point game as it was 10-0, 17-7, now 24-14, and I mean, just as Penn State gets as close as they've got, at 3, a couple different times, at 10-7 and then 17-14, they're going to have to go, score again. So, kick's good. 24-14 with 12-18 to go in the 3rd. So, yeah, they weren't going to put up with any of that, and rightfully so. I mean, I'm not surprised. I'm not. So, just as the offense does something, the defense, nothing. So, what can you do? But that's actually Ohio State's first rushing touchdown. C.J. Donaldson punches in on goal to go. But, yeah, the Julian saying to Cornell Tate connection, strong today. Obviously, Jeremiah Smith has a touchdown as well, but now Donaldson does too. They have the 22-yard field goal. Penn State has 2 rushing touchdowns. Now back to that turnover, they're even luckier to have that now than they were even before because they don't have it. They're down, 17, not 10. So, and that's 3 scores compared to 2. I mean, they're still, 12-18 to go in the 3rd. Like I said, at halftime, they got to get this game into the 4th quarter. If they can, with a chance to win it, then okay. And then whatever happens, happens. But we'll see. But still to come today in college football, 3:30 on CBS, Penn State's next opponent in the Indiana Hoosiers, as Penn State's at number 1 Ohio State today. Indiana's currently ranked 2nd in the country. But the AP poll will be released tomorrow, as always, 2 o'clock Eastern time, and will continue to be released the rest of the season. But college football won't go by that beginning on Tuesday because the college football playoff rankings will be released for the first time this season, Tuesday night. So Penn State's at Ohio State today. They're top-ranked team in the country. Penn State hosts Indiana, though, next Saturday. So right now, this game and next week's game are against the 2 top teams in the country. So it's going to be the same thing next week as it is today. What do you have to lose? Nothing. Go out and shock the world. But yeah, Indiana's at Maryland at 3:30. The Florida-Georgia game is also at 3:30. Notre Dame's at Boston College. Texas Tech's at Kansas State. Michigan State at Minnesota. Pitt's going out to the Farm to take on Stanford. Delaware going down to Liberty. New Mexico State, Western Kentucky. From the Blue Turf in Boise, Fresno State and the Boise State Broncos. Old Dominion at Louisiana Monroe. Louisiana Lafayette at South Alabama. Virginia's at Cal. Mississippi State, Arkansas in the SEC. Oklahoma State, Kansas. In the MAC, Central Michigan and Western Michigan. As Penn State returns the kick. And they'll have the 1st and 10. Night game, South Carolina, Ole Miss. From the Big House, the Michigan Wolverines will host Purdue. Arizona, Colorado. Wyoming, San Diego State. Georgia Tech's at NC State. Oklahoma, Tennessee. Nebraska and their black shirts hosting USC. Kentucky, Auburn, Washington State, Oregon State. As they'll actually meet twice this season. And the first meeting's today. They'll still meet once again later on this year in the regular season, not twice in the same season because of the conference championship game or, the playoff or whatever, but because the Pac-10, Pac-12 is now to the Pac-2, and they're the only two teams left, and then they're, scheduling teams basically as an independent. So last non-Michigan Ohio State conference loss at home was Michigan State 10 years ago. Penn State twice before then in 11, as Michigan State also won in 11, but Penn State in 08, and then somebody else, but that was the Aflac trivia question for you. Second in the yard, they'll run it, get the first down. So they'll move the sticks, but then also still to come tonight in college football. Wake Forest, Florida State, Arkansas State, Troy. From the, no, not the islands of Hawaii. Rainbow Warriors are at San Jose State tonight. But college game day was in Mormon country, Great Salt Lake, for the team Penn State beating the Rose Bowl a couple years ago. And the Utah Utes, as they'll host the 7-1 Cincinnati Bearcats later on tonight. So that's college football this weekend. If we get to a preview for next week, okay. If not, okay. But Penn State hosting Indiana next Saturday. Kickoff time still to be determined. It'll be announced tomorrow at some point in time. So windows open from 12 noon to 3:30 tonight game. Who knows when Penn State Indiana will kick off, let alone what channel it'll be on. But be sure to tune back in then live here on YouTube, as I'll have live play watch on reactions. And thanks for tuning in today as Penn State's back down 10. 10-15 to play in this third quarter. Got a 2nd and 4 as your score is 24-14 Ohio State. Bubble screen complete. Trevor Pena, they'll move the 6 once again, get another first down. So, got to respond one way or another. Got to go score. I'll kick a field goal. You're down 7 then, but then you just can't give up a touchdown. Let alone even a field goal then at that rate. Like if you score a touchdown, you can give up a field goal, but you can't give up a touchdown. Because it's just back and forth with. This is the third time they've been down 10 today. So 1st and 10, Penn State from the 33, but they got a ways to go. And a direct snap to Liam Clifford in at quarterback. Obviously, he's a wide receiver, but he knows the position because his older brother, Sean, was the Penn State quarterback before Drew Aller. But Grunkmeyer was also out there, but they just had him lined up as a dummy. 2nd and 7. Grunk's pass complete to Clifford. Speak of the devil. And now it'll be 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5. Yeah, old school, no gloves. 3rd and 6 officially. 3rd and 6. Third and 6 from the 36.5. Grunkmeyer gonna get sacked. So Penn State will punt, and back to where we started from of, nobody's giving them a chance, and they're not doing a hell of a lot, and they're probably going to lose regardless of whatever the hell happens, and yeah. So Penn State punts. And a fair catch, but it goes out of bounds, so it doesn't matter. We'll see where they mark it. 15-yard line. So punt inside the 20. All right, you got him pinned, but that hasn't really meant anything for Ohio State because they're still able to drive and score. So timeout on the field. We'll get back to it here in a minute. But, 24-14 your score. And back to the point of it might be getting uglier than it already is. So brace yourself.
See what I'm highlighting?
Can you show me how?
Show me how.
Oh, that's nice.
What would you like me to do next?
Hilton brings you new ways to stay, so you can relive it all. No matter where your food takes you. Stay where small stairs drive you. Partner by Hilton. Book your game day stay.
Hilton for the stay.
They say if it ain't broke, don't fix it. We'll put it inside burritos and tacos anyway. Crispy chicken from Taco Bell, a brand new classic.
How do I go that big without spending that much?
That's a Lowe's. They have cool decorations like Bumble and the Grinch.
Lowe's helps you get more holiday for less.
As a young man, my hair started to thin, and I couldn't sleep. I was stressed about it. There were a few options out there. Nutrafol is a drug-free supplement that gave me my hair, my health, and my confidence back. Get going. Nutrafol.com/man.
I'm feeling more confident about the future after reviewing my choices with Voya. Have you updated your workplace benefits and retirement savings?
No, but I am really gonna think about it at some point. Don't just think about a strong future. Plan for one with Voya. Plan, invest, protect.
If growing up suddenly had Tom Brady's football knowledge, you would consider that knowledge a gift at first.
Play action and shotgun isn't as convincing to linebackers as the hard counts don't travel like that, you know what I'm saying? But shit, we'll have a wide receiver lined up over here on the split, you know what I'm saying?
They did not. As it turns out, know what he was saying.
I know what you're saying, Cornell.
He's free. Nobody knows football like Tom Brady.
Nice.
Sponsored by What a day here in Ohio State. This crowd has been electric. Their energy is here. Attendance 117,000.
First and 10 Ohio State from the 16, as they gave the attendance of 105,000. Bubble screen complete. And to the 22, Ennis goes second and 4, if I can do my math. But as we ride the highs and lows, it's second and 4. Obviously, yeah, it's better off to be right in the fucking middle, but down the middle, another deep ball, Jeremiah Smith. Jesus Christ. They can't cover whatsoever. They're getting torched. Into double coverage on a dime. On a rope. Just right on the money. And now guess what? They're going to get back to the run game and run down our throat. First and 10 from the 21. They'll actually throw it again. Tackle for loss, so Davian Collins. So Julian's saying now over 300 yards passing today. 2 passing touchdowns. They have the rushing touchdown as well. And the field goal. That's how they got their 24 points. Bubble screen. Broken tackle. Well, he's going to be right at 300, I think. He's at 301. That went for -1. Yeah, down to 300. So, this is not Sparta by any means, but defense got to get a fucking stop. Come on. Penn State actually will be at Michigan State in 2 weeks' time for the Land Grant Trophy. Kick time for that might be announced Monday, and if not, it'll be on a 6-day window like next week's game is against Indiana. Saying down the middle, they're going to get Penn State on a pass interference. Probably a good call. So, be first and goal Buckeyes. So, will probably be a spot foul. Yeah. They say 15 yards, so it's still a spot foul to the 5 from where they were, right? Give or take the 20. Probably should have been half the distance, but yeah, either way, it's first and goal, Ohio State instead of 10, looking to add on to their lead. What's new? First and goal at the 8. Saying up under center. Smith in motion. And they'll run it for 3 yards or so. Second and goal now from the 5. So second and goal. They'll run it again and be down at the 1 this time. Third and goal from there. So third and goal at the 1. They'll run a bootleg wide open in the back corner of the end zone. Caught, touchdown. So 30-14 now. Extra point to come. And now Penn State's biggest deficit of the game is, well, it's going to be at 3 scores of 17. And I mean, that probably, honestly, will probably do it. You know. I mean, it ain't over until it's over, but even as, close as they got, like I said at halftime, I'm not going to be surprised one bit they come out here and fucking put it to them. And guess what Ohio State's done in the second half now? In 12 minutes of the third quarter. Scored as many points as Penn State has total on the board, 14. You know, and Penn State doesn't have anything to show for it. Because they punt on their only drive of the third quarter because Ohio State, they score. It's a quick touchdown drive, but they got the field on defense, so Penn State didn't have the ball a lot. You know? I mean, did get first down or 2 there, right? No, they went 3 and out. Anyways, still punting the ball. So it doesn't fucking matter. They didn't do anything. But then Ohio State gets the ball back, and then they just drive and score. And that officially went for 7 plays and good chunk of the field in almost 5 minutes. So, yeah, 31-14. Julian Sain is 18-21 for 301 yards passing and 3 touchdowns. 1 to Jeremiah Smith, who has 5 catches, 112 yards, and a touchdown. 1 to Carnell Tate, who has 5 catches, 124 yards, and a touchdown. Brandon Innes has 4 catches, 41 yards. Catch for 14 yards for the one tight end. The other has a catch for 6 yards, but then Bennett Christian has 2 catches, 4 yards, and the last touchdown. I mean, Ohio State really doesn't have a running game today. 20 carries, 64 yards, and a touchdown for C.J. Donaldson, who has 7 carries, 17 yards. Bo Jackson, 8-26. But they have 31 points, And, I mean, there's a rumor going around that Penn State's interested in former Ohio State wide receiver and current Ohio State offense coordinator and Brian Hartline to potentially become Penn State's next head football coach. So we'll see what happens. As the coaching carousel is spinning, obviously when Penn State had opened up, UCLA and Virginia Tech were open. Arkansas and Oklahoma State as well. But then since Penn State's opened up, well, so has Florida and so has LSU. So this arguably might be one of the wildest, coaching carousels we've seen in quite a while in recent memory. Just with all the big name, programs that are officially open. And with, former, Penn State head coach and Bill O'Brien, who left Penn State after 2 years, went back to the NFL as head coach of the Texans, and then had to work his way back up as an assistant. Obviously, he's back at Boston, in Boston at Boston College. But James Franklin, currently, in quotes, unemployed after being fired mid-October, 3 weeks ago. He's rumored, and like I've said, recently, I don't know where he's going to go, and I don't care, but he's rumored to be potentially taking the Virginia Tech opening that was most recently held by Brent Pry, his defense coordinator at both Vanderbilt and Penn State before he left for Virginia Tech. But then, from Virginia Tech having, Frank Beamer, and then they went the Memphis route with Justin Fuente, and then Florida State went the Memphis route with Mike Norvell. Obviously, Ryan Silverfield's at Memphis right now, but Brent Pry was at Virginia Tech, and then, fired earlier this year. So at the time, with Franklin still at the helm, that maybe they would bring Brent Pry back as an analyst of some sorts, to help out. But interesting with, Franklin potentially going to Virginia Tech. The thing that's going to suck, and not it's, Penn State fired James Franklin. It was time to move on. I've said my piece on that. That ran its course. But everybody is getting worked up about recruiting, and I mean, I get it, rightfully so. But Penn State and Virginia Tech have always been in a recruiting battle. I mean, you go down to the Commonwealth from here in the 814 to the state of Virginia with UVA and then Tech. I mean, Tech football is everything. It is. And I mean, from Beamer Ball to them trying to get back on track, Penn State and Virginia Tech have always been in recruiting battles. Always. Recruiting's changed, though. It has, but it's still the basics that add up. Right from wrong. And money is a driving factor, though, nowadays. But remember, Franklin was at, Maryland was the offense coordinator, was the coach in waiting, and then they didn't give it to him. And that's why he's always been pissed at Maryland. Because then he went to Vandy for 3 years, and then obviously was the Penn State coach for almost 12 full seasons, 11 and a half. He didn't make it 12 years. From January 14 to October 25. But anyways, recruiting will work itself out, so everybody needs to relax. But once again, I get it, with recruiting. As well, that's what Franklin would say. I get it. I understand. Yeah, bullshit, like we talked about in the past. But, him recruiting in Virginia with the DMV, with DC and Maryland, and the surrounding area, obviously Pennsylvania, with New Jersey, New York, West Virginia, Ohio, as well, North Carolina, South Carolina. Like, he has ties in Tennessee, obviously, at Vandy as well. Can't forget about Kentucky there. And then, you're getting into the deep South then after that. But, and if he does, then more power, and good for him. But still, at the end of the day, Penn State will be fine. But I don't know what the fuck just happened, but Ohio State kicked off, and then we went to commercial break. Did anybody else have that happen? And then it just comes back on, and it's 3rd and 5. So I don't know what the hell just happened on first or second down. But it's 3rd and 5, and Grunkemeier's pass is high, caught. Ross going to stumble, get the first down, though, out past the 30 to the 31. So 1st and 10. So a little technical issue there with Fox, it looked like. With, them going to break and then not coming back from break quick enough. Yet the game was ongoing. Because I was seeing local commercials for whatever reason. So, yeah. What can you do there? Nothing. They get the first down, though, on that 3rd and 5. Now they got 2nd and 10. Minute to go in this 3rd quarter. We'll get back into the coaching discussion here in a minute, since we're on the topic. From talking about Ohio State's offense and the stats they're putting up, and the rumor with Brian Hartline, and then back to Franklin, and where does Penn State go from here? Yeah. I'll leave it at that for the time being, but we'll get into that in a minute. See what happens here. Ball batted down, line scrimmage incomplete. So 3rd and 10 from 31. As it's 31-14 Ohio State. And down goes Grunk. Gets sacked again. So it's just not Ohio State's offense, it's Ohio State's defense as well, obviously, this 3rd quarter. Just complete domination. From top to bottom, left to right, up, down. Still don't really have a running game, but their pass game's been strong. They're still scoring points, obviously. And then their defense is just, with the lead, they're eating. They're getting the quarterback now. And, Penn State's on to punt again. So, return from the 22. that'll do it for the third quarter. In the meantime, as the clock hits 00, triple zeros, if you will. But got 15 minutes to go. 31-14 your score. Ohio State up. And their ball again, 1st and 10. So we are Penn State. But on the topic of the coaching search, you know, I've said in the past, you can still go check out that video I made after the Northwestern game, before Franklin was fired the following day. And, you know, for what effect it has now, that's for you to decide. But my top candidates for Penn State were Matt Roll, Dan Lanning, Kurt Cignetti, along with Matt Campbell, and then Shane Beamer with wild cards of Nick Saban and Urban Meyer. And Saban and Urban are not going to happen. I know they're not. But it didn't hurt, like I said, throw their name out there, let alone give them a fucking call, see what they have to say. So let me reiterate that. Ain't going to happen. But then, you know, from a couple weeks ago, it's been on Thursdays, I might add too. Kurt Cignetti already signing an extension with Indiana, who Penn State plays next week. To then Matt Roll signing an extension with Nebraska the other day. So I'll get to the Matt Roll quote and what I have to say about that in a minute. But the thing is, obviously, like I've said, Penn State, I feel they need to hit a home run. They still need a home run with this hire. A lot of people are saying, well, they need to hire an up-and-coming assistant because that's what other places have done, and it's worked out. It's like, okay, but then once again, I feel they need somebody experienced who's already been a head coach at multiple stops, who knows how to run a program, who can continue on with where Penn State football has, you know, positioned themselves, but they just can't get over the hump. And so obviously, a handful of those names aren't going to happen. So it's like, yeah, where do you go from here? I mean, Mike Elko's name really came out of left field, I thought, even though he played at Penn, could potentially be that next head football coach at Penn State, you know? And, I mean, that'd sound pretty cool, I think. You know, you play at Penn, and then you're the head football coach at Penn State. I mean, he won at Duke. He's winning at A&M right now. They're arguably one of the best, if not the best team in the country, just like Ohio State and Indiana, among a few others. I mean, obviously, he's only making like $7-8 million a year. Penn State can clearly pay him more than that because money is not an issue. But as we start this fourth quarter off, 1st and 10 Ohio State, 12-yard run, another 1st and 10. The timeline's tricky because of the way the schedule is now, and I still feel Penn State's going to want to have a coach hired, like, say, the first week of December, right after Thanksgiving and right after the regular season finale in the Rutgers game. You know, that Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, you know, Wednesday, give or take, sometime that week. Because then recruiting purposes for early National Signing Day, which is now the only signing day, really, mid-December, right before Christmas. And then obviously, you know, you have the playoff and then coaches in the playoff and this and that. But at the end of the day, money is money. Money talks, but then fit is the thing. And that's why I've said, just not this year or over the past couple years, I've been saying it for about a decade, that Matt Rule at Penn State is the perfect fit. But then it's timing. And it just doesn't seem like it's going to work out now. So, once again, Kurt Signetti signed an extension a couple of weeks ago with Indiana. Matt Rule just signed an extension with Nebraska the other day. As Matt Rule is quoted saying, as this Penn State-Ohio State game rolls on, early fourth quarter, 31-14 your score. Matt Rule quoted after the extension signed with the Nebraska Cornhuskers earlier this week, "We felt like Nebraska's our home. This program is our home. We love these players. I love this place." And that's coming from a Penn State alum. Okay? I might add, this is me now talking, that the last time Matt Rule signed an extension as the head coach of a football program was when he was with Baylor in the fall of 2019. He still left 4 months later for the NFL. So, yeah. Extensions do not mean anything. They do not mean shit until they go into effect. Okay? Because the only thing that changes is the buyout number. It was $5 million. It's now $15 million. If Penn State really wanted to go out and hire Matt Rule, let alone Kurt Signetti, let alone anybody else that has signed an extension recently, they have the opportunity to do so. They just have to pay a little bit more, you know? And so, yeah, extensions don't mean shit. And the thing is, too, Penn State, from what I've heard, you know, with the university, let alone the board, I get shit changes with time, but that he was the number one candidate, and was a clear-cut betting favorite as well, up until this extension was signed. But I will say this, all right, to Penn State, and then because there's part of the fan base that for whatever fucking reason does not want him, they will be regretting not hiring Matt Rule, among a few other potential candidates, in time. Because if they make the wrong hire, if they make the right hire, then okay, down this stretch over the next couple of years. But if they make the wrong fucking hire, you're going to be doing this all fucking over again in 3-4 years. If that. You know? And then the narratives change in, I might add, with Pat Kraft. Because who'd he hire at Boston College when he was the athletic director? Jeff Hafley. How'd that work out for BC? He left for the Green Bay Packers. Left him high and dry. Bill O'Brien takes over. But then who has Pat Kraft hired as the women's Penn State basketball coach? Carolyn Kiger from Marquette. How's that worked out for the women's basketball program? Yeah, exactly. Rest my case. I've stated in the past, yeah, he was and assisted as the assistant athletic director. Wasn't athletic director, but he was assistant AD at Temple when they hired Matt Rule. You know, but Matt Rule was also already there under Al Golden, you know, when he left from Miami. And then obviously they had Steve Adazio for 2 years in between, and then Matt Rule took over. But in the long run, it's just, it feels the timing with Penn State and Matt Rule, because there's been chances in the past from late 2015 to, you know, mid 16, to the 2021 time frame to now, that it's timing ain't aligned and ain't going to work out for one reason or another. But I will say this to Matt Roll, congrats, and good for him and his family in Lincoln, Nebraska, with the Cornhuskers. But we are Penn State at the end of the day. So with all that being said, once again, where does Penn State go? With their coaching search to find a new head football coach. So we'll see who Penn State ends up hiring, but I'll at the end of the day believe it when I see it. See, I'll leave that topic of discussion right there, but it's seemingly going to be now between a handful of coaches that, whether they were mentioned at first or not, they now are. And like I said, Penn State's about fit. Penn State is about fit. We just saw what happened with Brian Kelly and LSU. He went south, and they ran his ass out of town. And then, NFL coaches coaching in college doesn't work out. So it's like they run a trick play on a double reverse and flea flicker. Flag on the play as well as he got sacked. So we'll see what the penalty is, but that went nowhere. But I mean, you got Matt Roll not even coming back to his alma mater with signing an extension at Nebraska. Once again, extensions don't mean shit until they go into effect. It's just the buyout number changes. And then you have all these other coaches that are at their alma mater right now. Would they leave to go to Penn State? Because Penn State is still Penn State. As they'll punt once again. Fair catch with 10:39 to go. 31-14 your score. Ohio State up. But, yeah, just... It's not reverting back to they're going to regret firing Franklin. Even though a lot of people are already saying that. And I mean, I get it, rightfully so. I do understand that. Because that's happened, a lot of different, places. Florida, Nebraska, to name a few. Florida had Spurrier for the longest time. And then, Ron Zook came in. He was steady. And then Urban took over and took it another level. But then since Urban, the Florida Gators have not been the same. And Nebraska, after Tom Osborne, they haven't been the same until now with Matt Roll. So I said with Matt Roll, if he can win at Temple and Baylor, and he's winning at Nebraska, he can clearly win at Penn State too. And guess what? Nebraska plays at Penn State in a couple weeks. On the 22nd, the Saturday before Thanksgiving. And it's like, just watch that narrative change. They come in and beat us. And then everybody's all, no, we want Matt Roll now. It's like bullshit. You didn't want him. You were clear about it. Me, on the other hand, I've wanted him from the start. So I'm not going to have anything to, say differently. But, it feels like from Mike Gelko to Ryan Hartline, who's at Ohio State, but does he leave the Buckeyes? He played there. You know, he's the OC there. Is he ever going to get a chance to become the head coach, though, is the thing, with Ryan Day at the helm? I don't know. Does he leave to go elsewhere? You know, Penn State might be in a pickle. Everybody's going to bring up Manny Diaz again. It's like he barely won at Miami. He's barely winning at Duke. You know, and the thing is with Manny Diaz, I might add, I don't know if I've said this in the past yet. I'll say it now, though. The only reason why people were saying Manny Diaz for Penn State is because he was a fucking defense coordinator here for a couple of years. If he wasn't, nobody know who the fuck he is. You know? He's a damn good coordinator, but there's a thing with, coaches. There's coaches that are good head coaches, and there's coaches that are good coordinators, but not good head coaches. You know? And like you gotta obviously find the right one. You gotta 777 and just you gotta hit. You gotta. I think they're gonna be making an announcement. Maybe a month from now. I don't know. As Ohio State makes a big run. And they got 1st and 10 at the 11, looks like. So, 50-yard run there to move the 6, but because remember, the last 2 Penn State coaching searches, after Joe Paterno to Bill O'Brien and after Bill O'Brien, James Franklin, and neither of them was finalized until, early to mid-January. But then you still had a couple of weeks until National Signing Day on the first Wednesday of February. But that's not the case anymore. Recruiting-wise, with high school recruiting, with college recruiting and keeping your own team, let alone the transfer portal, and wow. It's tipped. It's almost picked. It's caught. Jeremiah Smith for another touchdown. It's now 37-14 Ohio State with 9:43 to go. So they're, of course, blaring Zombie Nation now. And rather than "We Are Penn State," I'm sure they're chanting "Fuck Penn State." But we are Penn State, one way or another. But, like, you got to get ahead of the curve, obviously. I get it. And from still that few weeks in between, you're making a decision and an announcement a month, ahead of time. And then what's tricky about it, once again, is the schedule to the actual games then, too, because then, is a coach going to leave where he's at now in damn good position to go here? Who knows? That's the point, or the part to it, too. So, I mean, they'll make a decision, whether it's the right one or the wrong one. We'll know over time. But I just personally have a hard time myself with not getting over, but just picturing, and then actually this is real. You know what I mean? Of, say, so-and-so, down the list of potential candidates is going to be the next, head coach. And it's like, well, a lot of people say, well, this is what you asked for. Rightfully so. I get that too. From, moving on from Franklin, firing him. But like I said, that had ran its course, and that was just time. It's time to move on. Good, bad, indifferent. It was time. But that's the thing, if they don't make the right decision, and it's not the right hire, and it's not the right fit, it's not the right this, that, they're going to have to pay for it, figuratively and literally. That's the topic now, too. It's like, well, what between, Penn State, Florida, and LSU, the big three, if you will, of the job openings right now. Who knows what else is going to open up? We talked about UCLA, Virginia Tech, Arkansas, Oklahoma State as well. Sort of lower, not tier, but they're just not blue bloods compared to those three. UCLA is. Virginia Tech's been damn good in the past. But of what three is the best job? And like Florida's been bad, like I said, after Urban. LSU, every head coach from Nick Saban to Les Miles to Ed Orgeron, other than Brian Kelly, who just got fired, and his family gonna move on elsewhere. They all won national championships, But the thing is, Penn State's right there on the cusp. They need somebody to get them over the hump. So we'll see who it is. Let me know in the comments below who you thought initially it was going to be, who you think it's going to be now, and everything news-wise, Penn State coaching search. It's been a topic of discussion the past 3 weeks. Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for tuning in and listening. But I'm still calling up, Matt Rule, Dan Lanning, Kirk Cignetti. And even though those first and third, 2 of the 3 already signed extensions, it's just the buyout number went up. If they want them bad enough, they'll pay it. And like Dan Lanning, we've talked about him. He's probably never leaving Oregon, but who knows? Maybe he will. Maybe he won't. It's, with Nike and the money, and that's this thing with the games changed with the money aspect to it. Because college football is the NFL now. They still consider themselves, collegiate athletes, but they're pro players getting paid. And Penn State's all in. We know that. They always have been. They have money, whether they act like they do or don't. You got the stadium renovation going on. And just hopefully they make the right hire. Did I read that right? Penn State has 1 offensive yard this whole third quarter or second half. All right, they'll add on to that now. That pass complete for a Penn State first down with 8:14 to play. But yeah, just like I said before, too, I don't want this person, don't want this person, don't want this person, don't want this person, don't want this person. I'm not going to name drop them right now today, but if you want info on that, go check out that video. So
These teams all have their first 8 opponents under 17 points. 4 of those teams
Penn State pass down the middle. It's caught. First down. Yeah, that was a good stat for Ohio State. 4 teams over the past 15 years through their first 8 games, holding their opponent under 17 points. Oh, that's headhunting. Come on, where's the penalty? Thank you. On number 2, Caleb Downs. Targeting on Khalil Dinkins. Pass was high, incomplete, but he still went and drilled him. So that's 15 yards of first down. And yeah, targeting, and he'll be out the rest of the game and out the first half next week. Ohio State is playing Purdue next week. They will be at Ross-Ade Stadium in West Lafayette against the Boilermakers. So, Bruce plays on further review in the meantime. But yeah, that's going to be targeting. That's a helmet-to-helmet hit. He literally stopped and then went after. Yeah, that's helmet-to-helmet for sure. That's targeting, 15 yards of first down. He'll get ejected and be out for the first half next week. But no, yeah, like I said, that was a good stat they showed off for Ohio State. 4 teams over the past 15 years. I think Alabama was on there twice. Georgia, Michigan. Through their first 8 games, holding the opponent to 17 points or less. All 4 of those teams went on to win the national championship. Obviously, Ohio State is the defending national champions. You know, they went and won the national title last year and beat Notre Dame, who beat Penn State in the Orange Bowl in the Final Four in a game-winning field goal, unless we would have had a Penn State-Ohio State national championship game last year. Unless, of course, Ohio State lost to Texas the day after Penn State lost to, Notre Dame. But, yeah. Ohio State was on a mission last year after losing to Michigan. And they went and ran the fucking table and beat Tennessee, beat Oregon, beat Texas, and beat Notre Dame for the national title. And they're 7-0, about to be 8-0. No foul for targeting. They pick it up. So he's not going to get ejected. But there's still a 15-yard penalty. And it's first down Penn State. So he won't be out the rest of the game, let alone miss the first half next week now. So from the 19, first and 10 Buckeyes, or first and 10 Lions, after the Buckeye penalty. Handoff Katron Allen. Fat man inside the 10, right at the marker. It'll be short, second and about a yard. So score. Make sure they go over that 17 points, and then Ohio State can't rely on that stat they just showed. And if they won't win the national title this year, it'll be somebody else. Not saying they still won't, but that stat doesn't lie. But 2nd and 1 here, Penn State from the 10. Another handoff, fat man, Katron Allen. Now they'll stuff him, no game. So we'll see here if they can punch it in or not. Or if they'll kick it to get to 17, which you just fucking go for it, Well, once again, what he had to lose, nothing. You might as well go for it. But yeah, I guess that'll do it for the coaching discussion today. I really haven't said much since I made that video. And there's been all that's happened, like I said, since. And there's still going to probably be a lot to happen from now until the end of the month. So we'll see who Penn State hires in the long run. But 3rd and a yard, do they give it to him? should be a first down. They will say first and goal. Grunkemeyer looking to throw. And pass incomplete. Dangerous, very dangerous throw. But incomplete, second and goal. From the 9, second and goal. Trips in a bunch, bottom of your screen. They'll roll out, shuffle it. More of an underhand than a shuffle. It goes for 2. Katron Allen, the catch and run, if you want to call it that. But third and goal from the 7. Third and goal at the 7. And Grunkemeyer getting pressure, going to roll out. And it's incomplete. So fourth and goal. I would say kick it, but I'm not being petty about it. Fucking go for it. Once again, what do you have to lose? Fucking go for it. Well, no shit, Joel Klatt. Fucking go for it here. You're down 38 to fucking 14. Fourth and goal with 4:34 to go. Grunkemeyer back of the end zone was picked off when he had a man, Katron Allen, wide open at the goal line. So turnover on downs one way or another, whether it's incomplete, turnover, it's fourth and goal. So it's Ohio State ball. Now it's a touchback, so they get the ball to 20 compared to the fucking 5-yard line, 7-yard line. But, I mean, that Fat Man got open because of the pass, because then the DB dropped back. So, there's nothing he could have done about it, But, and it's Caleb Downs who just had the targeting call against him. They reviewed it. He's allowed to stay and won't miss the first half next week. Yeah, penalty still helped Penn State out, but they throw the turnover in the end zone. So, first turnover, I believe, for Penn State today as well. Because Ohio State turned it over right before halftime. Penn State scored on it, 17-14. But then, like I said at halftime, yeah, pumped up, excited. No call for over-celebrating or anything along those lines. Like I said, you ride the high and you ride the lows, even though you want to be in between. I'm going to celebrate. I'm going to be pissed. There's no in between with me, if you know me. There's just not. And just, Penn State had them right where they wanted them at. But then Ohio State, get the run game going here this second half, still airing it out. And it took Fox to the fucking 3-minute mark to bring up James Franklin getting fired by Penn State. Let alone Penn State, still getting their ass kicked by Ohio State, whether he's still the head coach or not. So, Gus Johnson, Joel Klatt, go to hell. They say they're the best, but they're not. Fowler and Herbie are the best college football announcers in today's era. They are. But anyways, I'll digress there. As Ohio State gets another first down. But I remember I said at halftime, if you don't believe me, go listen back to it. with all the excitement, that still I wouldn't be surprised, you know, that Ohio State pissed off. They know they're supposed to win this game, but they also knew that nobody was giving Penn State a chance. Dangerous team in that situation. Ryan Day even had said that. But that, you know, that Ohio State, yeah, could blow us away in the second half. Well, guess what happened the whole entire third quarter? Guess what's happened this whole entire fourth quarter? You know, as a very loud O-H-I-O chant echoes through the Horseshoe in Columbus, Ohio, as we'll hit the 2-minute warning with your score 38-14. As Brutus had dressed up as a member of KISS for Halloween, it looked like. But, yeah, we'll go to break here with 2 minutes to go. 38-14, even with the timeouts and all that, doesn't fucking matter. We'll see if they run another play. They can just knee it out. So, yeah, we'll update some final stats and scores here, give a recap, and then obviously get into next week. But Penn State's going to lose 5 in a row for the first time since 2020 today. And 6 in a row would be next week with a loss potentially, and probably will be, like we've said already. But Penn State hasn't lost 6 in a row since both 2003 and 2004, respectively. 7 in a row if they'd lose at Michigan State in 2 weeks for the Battle of Land Grant Trophy. Penn State has not lost 7 games in a row since 1931. And 8 in a row would be the Nebraska game, potentially, if they don't win from now until then. Because they still, remember, haven't won since September the 13th. But Penn State football has never, in a single season, lost 8 games in a row. Never, ever in program history. So that obviously would be history in the wrong way. If Matt Roll in Nebraska would come into Happy Valley and beat Penn State to give Penn State 8 losses in a row if Penn State doesn't win from now until then. You know, but going to lose at Ohio State today. Indiana's coming to Happy Valley next week. Yeah, probably going to lose that one too, as I've said in the past already. And once again now. Still same mentality though. Nobody's giving them a chance. What do you have to lose? Go out and shock the world. Because you got the number 1 team today. Number 2 team right now. Next week, we'll see what the rankings are, though, come tomorrow, let alone on Tuesday night with the College Football Playoff. The rankings to be revealed, as mentioned. And then, yeah, you're at Michigan State. You're on the road today, home, away. And they're, like I said, too, they're going to be in position that they might have to win out to make a bowl game. And then say, you know, they do beat Michigan State, you know. They would still have to beat both Nebraska and Rutgers to become bowl eligible. But then just watch that they would, everybody, not me, I want Matt Roll. I've clearly stated that. I will die on the hill for Matt Roll to Penn State. Okay? I've made that known over the past decade. And more so than not, the past 5 years. And even more so recently, over this past month. But that, I guess it'd be sort of funny that, say, yeah, obviously they're going to lose today. Lose probably again next week. But if they beat, you know, Michigan State, you know, just hypothetical, okay? That, you know, Matt Roll would be the one to come in with Nebraska and beat us. But nobody, part of the fan base didn't want him. And then Penn State can't go to a bowl game because of it. You know, even if they beat Rutgers the following week, they'd be 5-7 then. The only way they go to a bowl game is there want to be enough bowl eligible teams at 6-6. Which that's happened, but then it's, do you have enough in the strength of schedule and all that? So 3rd and 2 here, Ohio State. They'll run it. They will not get the first down. So they go for it here on 4th down. Do they punt? Penn State get the ball back with a minute and a half to go. What's Ohio State going to do here? But yeah, so just a couple different, ways to look at everything going on right now. So, yeah, still at the end of the day, very, very frustrating. They will go for it on 4th and yard, get the first down, and now they can knee it out. Neither team's going to call a single timeout in the second half, not one. Both teams are going to finish with 3 timeouts. But yeah, we've talked about the schedule. So it's Indiana next week. And then, go to Michigan State, get Nebraska, and go to Rutgers. And if they lose again next week, they're going to have to win out, as I just mentioned, to make a bowl game. The last time, and I don't count 20 as a losing season, because it was just a conference-only season, 9 games. It was really 8, but then they had that extra, 9th game as an add-in right before Christmas. But, Ohio State will knee it out now, and that'll do it. Your final score is going to be Ohio State 38, Penn State 14. So Ohio State will get to 8-0 as the number 1 team in the country. Penn State will lose once again their 5th straight consecutive loss for the first time since 2020. As I was just saying about 20, I don't count 20 as a losing season because it was a Big Ten only, conference schedule. Even though they lost 5 in a row to start the year and then won 4 in a row and then, 5 in a row in 21 and then Rose Bowl 22, New Year's 6 in 23, College Football Playoff last year. Here we are 3-5. We are Penn State now on November the 1st, losing at Ohio State as 38-14. They cover. The over hits for anybody interested in that. Congrats to Ohio State. We know how damn good they are. But with Penn State football, losing sucks. Just frustrating once again. Losing 5 in a row for the first time since 2020 here today. But Penn State didn't go to a bowl game that year, even though it was technically a sub 500, season at 4-5. I don't count it once again as losing season. But they lose today, they lose next week, they'll be 3-6, have to win out to get to 6-6. They lose one of those, 3, or if they lose 2 of the next 4, regardless what happens in the next 4 games, they lose 2 of the next 4, it's a losing season. At 5-7 at a max. And then it's the first losing season since 2004. Penn State loses Ohio State today, 38-14 your final score. Penn State now has lost 5 in a row for the first time since 2020. Penn State has not once again lost 6 in a row since both 2003 and 2004. Last time Penn State lost 7 in a row, 1931. So that's on the table potentially if they lose next week, which they probably will, to Indiana, to then also lose at Michigan State. That would tie that. But Penn State getting to the Nebraska game, if they don't win from now until then, and then they lose that, that would be 8 in a row. Penn State football has never lost, ever, in program football history, 8 games in a row. But That's then. This is now. And Penn State still hasn't won on November the 1st since 1997. They lost in 2003 to Ohio State by a point. They lost by a point as well 11 years later in 2014 to Maryland. That was the game they didn't want to shake hands. But then still lose today, but it's by more than 1 point at 38-14 your final score. So, yeah, Penn State's lost 5 in a row for the first time since 2020. They're now 3-5. Still haven't won since December the 13th. And they'll host Indiana next Saturday. As mentioned earlier, kick time still to be determined. Kickoff will be announced tomorrow. So, could be a noon game, could be a 3:30 game, could be a night game. I do not know. Nobody knows. So we'll see. Let alone then what channel it's on as well. So, and then today's Penn State Ohio State game will be the last time these two teams meet until 2028. Just with the way the college football world is now and the way the Big Ten schedule is shaken out. So, yeah, monster mash, graveyard smash. Ohio State defeats Penn State 38-14. They now lead the all-time series 27-14 as well. The Scarlet and Gray, OHIO, defeat the blue and white. That we are Penn State. The Lions, I mean, Penn State hung around for 30 minutes. They were running the ball well. They were controlling the clock as well. Had points off of a turnover. Never got into field goal range for Ryan Barker again. Punted a lot, obviously, because Ohio State came out in the second half. And I mean, Penn State punted a couple times prior to that, but Ohio State came out in the second half. And they got the run game going there as the second half progressed. But the passing game was strong all game. We'll get into the stats here in a minute with Julian Sang and Smith and Tate, but tight end had a touchdown as well. But as Penn State, I mean, Tudor Donaldson, former West Virginia Mountaineer, had a touchdown today for the Buckeyes. Penn State's 2 touchdowns were rushing touchdowns from Singleton and Allen. So we'll update on the rushing record, stat. And Aziz will update momentarily. Hold on a minute. Because the fat man needed 443, 88.6 average over the next month. Katron Allen had 76 yards today, so. You know, 443 and 76 is 367, so. That's now what Katron Allen needs over the next 4 games. Which then averages out to 91, almost 92 yards a game to become the all-time leading rusher in Penn State football history. But, yeah, we'll see if that happens. If it does, it does. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And if it doesn't, it's going to come damn near very close. What was I saying, though? But no, Ohio State just then, with stopping Penn State, the defense just ate and ate and ate. They went trick-or-treating on the Penn State defense, or the Penn State offense, excuse me, and egged them in the meantime. Corned them, if you will, as well. And just... they put it to them. You know? So, what else is there to say? Other than that, not much. So, yeah, Penn State's lost 5 in a row. First since 2020, they're 3-5 now, hosting Indiana next week. And probably going to be 6 in a row for the first time since 2003 and 2004 next week as well. So, I'll leave it at that. There's not really much else to be said. Credit to Ohio State, though. Julian Sain was 20-23, damn near perfect for the Alabama transfer quarterback. 316 yards. So he might be going to Stone Cold Steve Austin to a Halloween party tonight. He had 4 passing touchdowns. And they had a rushing touchdown. And then the 22-yard field goal. That's their 38 points. Yeah, Julian Sain, 20-23, 316, 4 touchdowns. 2 to Jeremiah Smith, 1 to Carnell Tate, and then the other to Bennett Christian. Bo Jackson had 13 carries, 105 yards rushing. James Peoples, 4-19. C.J. Donaldson, 7-17 in the score. Julian Sain had 2 carries, 13 yards. Isaiah West, 4-13. Carnell Tate, 5 of 124 receiving, and a touchdown. Jeremiah Smith had 6 catches, 123 yards receiving, and 2 touchdowns. Brandon Ennis, 441. The tight ends, 4 catches, 24 yards, and a touchdown between the 3 of them. And Peoples had a catch for 4 yards as well. Reese had 12 total tackles. They ended up getting 4 sacks on Ethan Grunkmeyer. 7 tackles for loss. Ohio State had 1 punt for 43 yards, and they made a 22-yard field goal. Ethan Grunkmeyer at quarterback. Yeah, sacked those 4 times, threw the pick late. Was 19-28, 145 yards. I mean, I don't know if they'd make a quarterback change. I mean, Drew Aller's already hurt. You're down to Grunk. The thing is, a lot of people will be saying, well, what about Bo Perbula? Well, what the fuck about him? He transferred to Mizzou. He didn't want to be here. He took the money and ran. And then guess what? He also got fucking hurt too. You know? So it sucks to suck. I don't want to hear it. With Bo Perbula would have been playing better, you know, offensively here at Penn State this year. You don't know that, and probably too, no, he won it because you know damn well how Penn State used him in the past. He was Tommy Stevens 2.0, is all fucking Bo Perbula was. They would never let him air it out. He would be in there for a running quarterback. And that's what they're doing with Jackson Smolik. But he didn't even play today. Whether he was dressed or not, coming off the injury at Iowa. You know, Grunkmeyer had less than 100 yards 2 weeks ago. You know, threw for 145 today, had an interception. So he's turning the ball over. But, well, if it ain't Grunkmeyer and ain't Jackson Smolik, then who the hell is it? Well, it's Beckham Kritza, then the true freshman. Originally from Colorado, was going to go play for the Buffs, but he played his high school football in Florida, and highly touted recruit. And like I said about him earlier, for whatever reason, one way or another, he was never in the fold of, you know, to potentially play this year. I mean, I get it, yeah, from Drew Aller down, like buried on the depth chart. Redshirt. Well, guess what? Penn State's in a situation now. They really don't have a passing game. It's all running. And when they are passing, it's still not much, and they're turning the ball over. So it ain't going to fucking hurt one bit to maybe make a quarterback change. And then guess what? There's 4 games left. So he can play in those 4 games and still be able to redshirt. So I wouldn't be surprised if Ethan Grunkmeyer is not playing quarterback next week for Penn State. Even though Penn State has way more issues than just that. You know, they're playing all these other players at other positions. It ain't going to hurt. That's all I'm saying. To potentially make a move. Whether he starts next week, whether he doesn't, whether if he does and somebody else comes in afterwards. I mean, they already were running a 2-quarterback system. You know? I'm not saying to run a 3, you know, because that sure as hell ain't going to fucking work. Because when you have 2 quarterbacks, you don't have 1 quarterback. And if you have 3 quarterbacks, you sure as hell don't have 2, let alone 1 for that matter. So, but I mean, we knew it coming in. They're going to have to run the fat man, Katron Allen. And I mean, they did. 21 carries, 76 yards, and a touchdown for him. Credit to Ohio State's defense. Singleton, 6 of 18 and a touchdown. But, yeah. Kobe Howard had a catch for 26 yards. I must have missed it. I must have been talking about whatever the hell else I was talking about in the second half when he caught that. So he has 2 catches now. All right. So sorry to him I missed it. But the thing is, too, and I've brought this up recently, especially with, you know, players on this team, I can guarantee you probably half of this team, regardless of who the hell head coach is next year, ain't going to be on next year's team anyway. You know, so the thing is, they're going to want to get tape out there, but then it's like, well, if you're already tucking and running here, who's going to want you? Because you might tuck and run, you know, and leave wherever you do, you know, go then. I mean, they did cut back on the transfer limit. You can only transfer X amount of times now. Because I mean, there are some kids that were transferring every year. And they've been playing college football for like 100 years. You know? I mean, there was a couple that like almost got to 10 years. It's like, that's still fucking ridiculous. Because it's a big deal when there's a 5th-year senior, for God's sakes. You know what I mean? But, yeah. I mean, when you're second back leads the team in receiving, you got an issue in the pass game. And like I've said with the coordinators, Andy Kotelnicki, Jim Knowles, they're both probably going to be gone at the end of the season anyway. You know, so they're going to let them fucking go now. They're going to let them, you know, walk later. Like, what's the difference? Because then if you do let them go now, who the hell are you going to have call plays? You know, just, they're in a tough situation. They are. But when, yeah, it's always your quarterback leads the team in rushing, or in this instance, one of your 2 backs leads the team in receiving. You got a major problem. Singleton had 3 catches, 28 yards. That led the team in receiving. Kobe Howard, 1 of 26 behind him. Devontae Ross, 5 of 26. Hudson, 1 of 18. Liam Clifford, 2 of 14. Dinkins, 2 of 12. He might be concussed, though, after that hit. So we'll see what his status is moving forward. Trevor Pena, 3 catches, 11 yards. Katron Allen, 2 of 10. That's the thing. It's, on paper, it looks good with the splashy moves and this and that. It's always about production when it comes down to it. Because tell me what these 3 transfer wide receivers have done this year. Not a hell of a lot, regardless of who was playing quarterback. Yeah, Ross had a couple of touchdowns against Oregon to get them back in the game. But, you know, Hudson and, you know, Pena, not a hell of a lot. They have nothing to the tight ends. They're one-dimensional. And now they're one-dimensional with the running game with a backup quarterback. Like, it's even worse. Because then the defense is out there a lot. Mark Campbell had 8 total tackles. 4 tackles for loss total as a team. Yeah, 4. But no sacks. And then Gabe Owusu kicked 6 times for a total of 299 yards, which averages out to about 50 a punt. He had a long of 63. He had a couple pinned inside the 20. So, I mean, they did flip field. But it didn't fucking matter. Ohio State was still able to drive and score. You know, because the defense couldn't get off the field. Because, and I mean, shit, this time possession stat doesn't seem real. I mean, Penn State was up by, it was like 20 seconds or whatever it was at halftime. It's like 15-10 to 14-50 something. The overall time possession at the end of the game, with the final score being 38-14, obviously that's the only stat that matters. But Ohio State controlled the clock by only 14 seconds. 30 minutes and 7 seconds to 29 minutes and 53 seconds to Penn State. Ohio State had 22 first downs. They were not 6-7 on third down, but the old school, correct, 6 of 9 on third down. They were 1-1 on fourth down as well. Penn State 8 of 15 on third down, 0 of 1 on fourth down. They had 200 total yards, Penn State did. When Ohio State had 480. I mean, 480 total yards for the Buckeyes, 316 passing, 164 rushing. Penn State with 145 passing and 55 rushing. Because those sacks for 40 yards or so brought that rushing total down. So Penn State had 200 total yards. There were only 4 penalties. They called it down the middle, I guess. 2 of 30 on each team. And then both teams had 1 turnover. So, but yeah. We witnessed what we thought we were going to see. It wasn't a full 60 ass kicking, but it was still a win for Ohio State at the end of the day. 38-14 is your final score. So they're the number 1 team in the country. They're 8-0. Penn State falls to 3-5 once again. Haven't won on November the 1st since 1997. And they now have lost 5 in a row for the first time since 2020. But remember, after that, they won 4 in a row. And guess what? There's 4 games left. So, if they did that, they'd be 7-5, and you're definitely going to bowl game then. You know, because then it's the little things to add on to and move into next year, but then you're also going to be doing that with a new head coach, and then, you know, who that is, who the assistants are, what players are going to be on this team and next year's team, and who aren't going to be on this year's team and next year's team, and so on and so forth. There's so much to figure out. So, yeah, 3-5 with 4 to go. Penn State loses 5 in a row for the first time once again since 2020. Haven't lost 6 in a row since 2003 and 2004, but Penn State hosting Indiana next week. So I'll leave it at that. And it's going to be the same thing. Just hang around. You know, give yourself a chance. You know, they don't have anything to lose once again. Go out and shock the world. So, yeah, and that's that. I'll leave it at that. So, fortunately, no loss. What can you do? But we're not coaching, we're not playing. We're sitting here cheering on the blue and white with our fandom. Watching, analyzing the game, and everybody's got to deal with it one way or another, win or loss. As we know, losing sucks. So, yeah, 38-14 is your final score. Ohio State defeats Penn State, but in the meantime, yeah, that'll do it for myself, your host, Encyclopedia Sports, Coin Luke 96. So, once again, thank you for tuning in and listening. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe on social media if you haven't done so already. And I'll see everybody tomorrow for the NFL, but then next week for more college football and the NFL as well. But for Penn State football, next Saturday, kickoff time still to be determined. Be announced tomorrow, so you'll have to check on that yourself. But or if I have any update tomorrow when I'm on, I'll let everybody know then. Just be sure to tune back in live here on YouTube for more college football, Penn State. Blue and white in the line. Live play, watch all reactions live here on YouTube. So we are Penn State, but Ohio State defeats Penn State today. Once again, your final score, 38-14.